Yeah, I'm with you.
I hope so.
They've got one guy flashing as a charge rifle. If that's me, I'm closing the distance.
Oh, it's SSG, James, your pick.
Yeah, I went for SSG. You know, we've seen great things from them in the online era of Apex Legends. Moving to LAN, we'll see if they can do the same, but I smell weakness.
Wow. Space
Station don't seem too comfortable with this. 30-30 at close range could be a little awkward. Trying to keep it medium is Frex with these taps, with this peppering of the squads. Now desperately trying to get his HP up once again. But has the moment passed for IG? Has it gone beyond the point of no return though? So many questions to be answered by both of these teams, and who knows if they'll disengage and they'll both survive. I'm not quite sure. Zanar's been dropped actually by Bryn, so they surely have to capitalize on this.
Drop's already been dropped, and it seems like Zanile as well. It's SSG out. Big change here for teams.
Bubble and the airstrike.
Needing to do some things.
Oh,
G2 designful.
that's crazy.
Up this party coming in as the third one, and you know that's the best one in Apex Legends. Designful Resulta. It's not fair. Gonna send out IG at least one. Urban will fall. It seems like maybe Bryn got away off of that phase breach. And so that is who they'll be searching for. And they certainly will find it. And look, Rick Zero. If you saw the B stream with Nicewig, you know what this man could do with a Kraber in his hand. It looks like he's got another one. That spells danger for the lobby.
Yeah, but you can see he's in no man's land at the moment. He's just running out there on his own. Starting to fall back now. He's got the slope, so he will slide out of there. Reply totem eliminated in the meantime, and he's still going for it, but he's in trouble now. He's got to pop a bat or something. Definitely got to get back to his team either way. They'll throw the dome to help him out, and now he's inviting them. I dare you to come and push here. We'll see where that ult goes. He manages to get around the corner. Such is the nature of Valve. Movement god disappears entirely, and that is a wasted ult. And they'll look to reposition with the Kraber once again. Designful trying to make his way forward, trying to stay in the zone. He may be forced to his doom the way that things might be going for G2 at the moment. Third party after third party goes from bad to worse. Resulta gone, as are G2.
And look at that, Sudoraiku as well, falling to TSM. Imperial House, so some big names in the kill feed. Sudoraiku as well, falling to Verholst. But let's just catch up on what happened. It was a great play from Reignite, one of our representatives in APAC South, being able to bring together the best of the best in all of these regions. It's made for some stellar showcases of talent. And I would say Zero has taken the Kraber King title for at least today, but they've got to run through another big matchup here on the edge of the circle to determine who's going to be applying pressure on the outskirts. It's CLG going up against Fennel from APAC North. What do they got here? Fennel peeking on the right side. That's a big clip from the R99. Don't see it as often with the car in the meta so much now, but Malice Mamba, CLG.
Grenades everywhere.
One of the best in terms of team fighting, James, but you're right, so many ordinances, so much caustic gas as well. Mamba's gonna have to do a lot here because he can actually run through the gas as the caustic himself without being deterred. But look at this, clinging to the very top of that Gibraltar dome. I'm just not sure it's gonna be enough. Fennel go down, moment is fallen, but Pinotur and Chocobo have to clean up here.
Yeah, it's gonna be a really narrow one as none of them have any armor left. Starting to get their armor up as CLG are eliminated. We have lost a lot of squads in a row.
Wow.
100 Thieves soon went as well. This is looking like a very painful lobby here on Stormpoint, and it's going to get even more painful because look at the size of that next ring. You can't be running into the zone anymore. It is going to hurt way too much, and that means that Fennel have to find their way forward. But after they go past this bridge, what kind of cover are they going to have? They're losing more players now, and Chocobo is alone, trying to run from Elevate, trying to flee. Has to get behind that rock though, and again, how does he keep moving? He's being shot from the high ground by Saku, as we can see here, so I think this might be the end of the line for Chocobo. I wouldn't even try and launch 1 HP in a dream, and that dream turned into a nightmare.
Important to get the points, obviously. Fennel looking to qualify for the winner's bracket tomorrow, and they are about 10 points shy of being involved. The team ahead of them, though, is Elevate, who actually was a part of doing the damage with them. Another team that we've got to talk about, haven't had a chance to mention on this mainstream, Gamewith, and they're flying in, but they're going to meet, a lot of danger here, especially when you look at the side of Team Empire. They're going to go out very quickly to recreate. There's 6 squads left now, James. Round 4 closing in. I'm not sure if we're going to see Gamewith get pressured unless it's TSM who do the pressuring. They're on the outskirts, a team that has desperately had our eyes and attention on them for their lack of performing today in Game 1 of our final round. Could they start to turn the tide?
Reignite they're in a sandwich at the moment. I don't know if they're able to survive this. You can see on the high ground they've got Elevate behind them. They've got teams to their side as well, and teams ahead of them. So they better hope they have enough cover. In the meantime, Zero's going fishing again with the Kraber, and we've got domes galore. Fortunately, they've got high ground, and look at the 3Ps coming through. Reignite looking pretty thirsty right now. They're looking to quench that thirst, and they might push these domes.
It doesn't matter who wins this fight because you know who's coming afterwards. It's Reignite. It's Zero with the Kraber, leaving 0 people alive to tell the tale. 4 squads left here, but you know who else is out in the water. It's not Jaws, but it might as well be. They've got Jaws as large, ready to clamp down, but have they been efficient today? No, it's TSM still waiting, biding their time. Maybe something different is better than the plan that hasn't worked before, and Team Unite fine to take advantage of that because they're going to get an extra placement point. They'll find another kill. That's 11 points for Team Unite. It's Reignite. It's TSM in our final circle here in Game 1 of Round 3.
And finally, the Kraber has finished firing bullets, but all those boxes, he'll get a re-up on a new weapon, and he'll be in a very good position indeed. TSM disengaging. They are admiring. They are voyeurs peeping through the window, looking from behind the curtains as they look to reposition now. Not sure if all of that house will be in. Most of it won't be, actually. I don't know if it's going to be occupiable, but we can see that Verhulst and Imperial House are trying to create space. In the meantime, Unite's got some nice angles, and that's going to be the go command. It's time to get some KP.
Look at this, Unite. They know they've got to make some plays, but Zero with another headshot on the Kraber. Don't do it to him. Do not do it to him, but he will not. Unlike he's done the entire game, that miss could be a miss that he makes up for right after that. This man cannot be stopped unless it's by a full team, and TSM are still alive and well, and that's the black hole to hopefully send this fight out into space to never be discovered again. Imperial Howl cleans up 1, he cleans up 2, Unite is out, and TSM are back on top.
They just came in like vultures, waiting until everybody was weak. Doesn't matter how many Krabers you find in the boxes, timing is everything, and finally some smiles from TSM. Saw them in the cafeteria earlier on and didn't want to say hello because, you know, not having such a good time, not making eye contact with people, but now they are happy as Larry. Don't know who Larry is, though. But either way,
happy guy.
Great decision-making from TSM. Okay, we're going to chill in this house. We're going to let these guys ruin each other. Then we're going to come in and clean up. We're going to bleach the floors. We're going to leave things looking sparkling and clean and delicious.
You know the world is going crazy. You expect the chat to be flying. This is something that I know a lot of fans have been waiting to say. TSM win. They get it done. Is it too late, though? They are just outside of qualifying for winners tomorrow. In fact, they're 1 placement away from the top 20, sitting 21st overall in points. But a win in Game 1 of our final round should certainly help put them in the conversation to feel a little bit more at ease. Hence the smiles, James. Hence the relaxation finally from TSM.
That's certainly a release of pressure for TSM. That's some important points on the board. Again, playing position means you're not going to get as much KP, but they did add some towards the end. So we've seen some first places of about 23 points. This one 17, but all these points are crucial, and they'll take every one. I
feel like it's just a matter of them being willing to wait towards that final circle as well. There was a lot of patience shown. I feel like TSM was playing edge, and it may just be in Storm Point starting off with an edge-focused kind of play and aggressiveness on the third parties is going to be the way that they win. Early rotates, sitting in buildings may not be their style, and I definitely love the black hole and the horizon, which gives them a lot of utility. Whether it's high ground, low ground, or whether it's just managing these open space circles, pressure within Gibby bubbles is one of the things the black hole does as it pulls you with, even if you are covered by a surface in between, whether it's walls, whether it's Gibby bubbles, it'll still pull you towards that center and throw off a lot of your plays. So something that TSM are utilizing well, and you can see it here in the stat line. Our bottom 10, though, G2 in there, James, a couple of notables as well, not having a great start.
Yeah, G2 still having a disappointing time, and the same can be said for IG, but we saw what happened in that scenario. They landed in an awkward position. They were engaged by a team I can't remember, but they felt weakness. They put one in flesh. They saw a charge rifle. Like, we are at a range where this is just not going to work out for that team. Instant third party. They end up in the bin towards the bottom. Not enough kills to really make it worthwhile. However, some people who did make it worthwhile was TSM versus Imperial Howl and Reps. It will be 3 kills for the fearless leader of Howl, the captain, the icon, the acorn, which one you prefer. 1,111 damage from Imperial Howl, but Reps will be there heading towards 1,400. Again, this is what you want to see from CSM. You want to see them winning some games, and here's the first one, maybe not the last one for today.
181 damage from Verhulst as well, too. That's a bit surprising, but whatever.
Happy to be here.
Exactly, but whatever is working, I'm sure he'd rather have that in a win than a lot of damage and a loss. That's just game one. It is our final round, ladies and gentlemen. We're deciding who's going into the winner's bracket tomorrow, who will be in that deadly losers elimination bracket, setting up our storylines for the first LAN ever in Apex Legends Stockholm. ALGS history, actually, for the ALGS. So we will be right back. We're going to take a quick break. James and I will see you in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
I'm nading. There's 2 downs.
I'm walking up on the bridge. I'm walking up on the bridge right now.
Oh, they get knocks. Get knocks. I got a knock. It's a Watson, I think. Can we kill this Watson? Can we drop? He's dead. Got him. Nice. I got the knocks. I got the knocks. Yeah.
Let's go, baby.
We came back. Let's go, boys.
Just sat in a golden hole game.
There's a good luck right there, boys.
We came back And that's what we needed. I'm certainly sure there's a lot of people who needed to see that to know TSM didn't wait 3 years after winning our last LAN to just show up and not win at all. But it certainly helped to make this group that much more competitive, as we all imagined, since it's been named the group of death by some, colloquially referring to it. There's a lot of great teams in A that we've been watching. But that was one heck of a win and kind of a return to form, even though not a huge game, but a win.
Yeah, an important one. And I love the discipline that we heard in the comms there. It's like almost a 3 versus 1. Like, can we drop? Can we drop? Yeah. But it also shows you the importance of when you do drop. It is a point of no return. It is the full commitment. Everything is on the line. Yeah. But to show that they are, okay, if you say go, we go. If you don't say we stay, right, is awesome. The focus, and especially with the bumpy road they've had thus far, to see that level of focus is fantastic. And that's what most teams need when you defer everything to one person. Yeah, that is how it has to be.
Well, it's a totally different energy that you're even looking at. I mean, Verhulst has been, I guess, reserved with a lot of facial emotions today, so we haven't been able to read too much. But you could certainly see in Reps and Hal that they were just a little bit not happy. They were not really emoting very much at all. And now we're seeing smiles. Now we're seeing relief. We're seeing that visibly, and it just goes to show they are feeling like they have figured this out. It's also a new lobby, and that's going to be another challenge, James, how these teams adapt to these new lobbies and the variation of is Stormpoint first or is World Edge first? Because usually teams are a little bit better on one map or the other, and starting off strong can help you keep that momentum into the map switch.
Yeah, indeed. Momentum is oh so important, especially if you've got that flow state level where you're just like ready to absolutely drill everything. And we know what that looks like when Hal has something like that. Yeah. Everybody is going to get shredded, and I think most of us enjoy watching that happen as well. So maybe we'll see some spectacle like that in these coming games. That was a very interesting Stormpoint. It was almost World's Edge-esque in how many 3Ps we were seeing in a small concentrated area. And we'll have a look at Reps versus Slayers here. UK man's on deck, hashtag roadmen, etc. Double Gibraltars. Reps, of course, maybe well, one of the most important Jibbies in the game, but perhaps that could be true for Element 6 as well, because again, they have been somewhat under the radar, again, formerly known as 69 IQ. They have rebranded to Element 6 now, and they've put in some results today. I think they've had a much better time of things than we've seen from TSM thus far, so maybe, he'll be in future in the discussion for the strongest Gibraltar in the game.
Well, if you noticed very clearly within those stat comparisons, there was actually more damage done on the side of Reps. The difference, the kills, 15 on the side of E6 in that player comparison. Reps, only 9. Conversions, efficiency. And it seemed like TSM has found a way, not involved in many of those fights, only took the fights they needed, but then they executed. And that, if they can keep going here as we start off game 2, will spell trouble for the rest of the lobby. But I don't want to speak too soon. Obviously, still a lot more game to play. Teams making adjustments themselves as well. Antenna, where TSM land on Stormpoint and where they'll be starting here.
I think it was Rejects who were contesting in that first game with, was it Space Station? No. It was with someone. But I do wonder if that's happening again. Oh, it was Space Station, and by the looks of things, and it seems
but it was Reply Totem.
Reply Totem, okay, and it seems that, the ego, you have to have ego if you're a competitive player and you want to be the best. You must have ego, and ego will continue, and so will the content. Oh, okay, Mozambique with range like that. All right, just going to get some glass cracking, just create some space for yourselves, cause some problems for your opponent. But what is the conclusion of this engagement? Do they continue to push each other? They'll both fall back by the looks of things and get some more loot up. But this will be an ongoing situation in this game and the next.
I mean, this is kind of a conversation too, especially with these scrims coming in. You know that you're going to be splitting some of these areas for loot with other teams. The key is, are you going to be splitting neutrally, saying let's 50-50 this, where each squad gets 50% of the loot and you almost go into an active truce? But if you do that, do you sometimes turn your guard off and open yourself up for an easy pick, which turns into, obviously, if some team has the capability to take down another team, they're going to do it. There's no actual truces in this game whatsoever. So it's a fine line to play between showing presence, starting a fight, but actually wanting to fight, and what they did just there, which is Reply Totem and Space Station decided, all right, we've poked at each other a little bit, let's go loot up. You know we're here, we know you're here.
It's getting late in the day, and you have to have a second thought. A lot of Mozambiques on those teams for the time being. Some people swear by the Mozambique.
Some do.
I don't know who those people are, but I'm sure they're out there somewhere.
They're all over. I don't know any of them.
I bet Vicky plays Mozambique.
We know Vicky knows probably about
I mean, whenever she's not in a position to defend herself, that's the time to call her out, you know?
That's right.
Hopefully by the time she's back on the day, she won't remember this. So that makes it true.
It does,
you know?
yeah. Totally.
You've got to put things out there.
Mozambique's really, too, James, also, you know, and I think in the meta of shotguns, we've seen an evolution of what was in previous tournaments, and you see a lot of the footage in our breaks, an EVA 8 really being, after the Peacekeeper was obviously the starting shotgun in all of Apex Legends, really got nerfed so much to where the EVA 8 became the powerful weapon of choice. The Mastiff had a moment, but then got quickly nerfed. And then, of course, we saw some changes back towards the Peacekeeper that have allowed that and the Mastiff to take over as the two kind of signature slots there. I prefer the Mastiff, in my opinion. Just I think it's a little easier for the active reload. You can get that final shell back in for that one shot versus a full reload on a PK. It doesn't give you the option. I do also feel that the spread's a little easier to control on my end. And sometimes it's just preference. But a lot of players veer towards that PK in general, even though the Mozambique, I've heard people say they might prefer over the EVA 8. And so I think we've seen the shotgun meta has taken a bit of an interesting journey here. It's kind of where it currently is, but I wonder what we'll see in the next season as well.
Yeah, I wonder about the range of the Mozo versus the EVA 8, because we did see a match earlier where, I forget the team, but there was an alternator involved, ran out of bullets, but they didn't have the range with the EVA 8 to engage, I think, versus a wingman, and then couldn't really win the fight. Tried to escape, that didn't work either. So that was a very interesting scenario we had there, but that is something we can do the science on later on, as guess what? We've got some Watsons in the house. Game with whipping out the Watson, whipping out the fences. I saw a fence on the way here.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
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 How was that?
I wanted to stop to take a picture, but, you know, I had to call time, so I'll try and get it tomorrow morning.
So you showed up late, I thought the story would have been, because, you know, of course, that's the most important thing in your day. If James sees a fence, well, rehearsal stops, ladies and gentlemen. We know this man loves what Watson can do, and we also know that there's not a lot of teams that feel the same way as him in terms of today. We've only seen a few, actually, kind of dive into the Watson and commit to it throughout all of the games. Game with a team we haven't seen on this broadcast, particularly playing the Watson as well. Comes with its pros and cons. It's been an APAC North kind of treat. But it hasn't necessarily been something that's taken over the meta. Speaking of the meta and taking over, this is a team that has done it time and time again. And with wingmans in their hands, you should be scared. Let's go ahead and listen to G2 as they finish up their skyward dive, start their game plan with 20 squads to 11.
Wait, they got out of the car. I'm just gonna craft, fuck them.
Alright.
They're gonna run.
I think they ashed it out.
Yeah, they're gone.
Need a beacon real quick?
Alright.
Nice. It's fine by me. Craft up quick. We're gonna take their car. We're gonna go launch site, craft purples, fish farms, craft bats and stuff, med kits. I'm just gonna craft more med kits here and then my armor to perp.
Well, launch pad, grab purples, fish farms, craft bats, and then head into the final zone. G2 deciding to take the long way, the road less traveled, but...
They're on a pilgrimage.
Yes, they are.
They're on a pilgrimage. They are going to have sore, bloody feet by the time they get to the zone. But we'll see what they can do once they get there. In the meantime, we can see 100 Thieves and Space Station. Please give me a hoodie near each other. I have to say, their hoodies are really, really sick.
You gotta ask our boy Shonduras, man. He should hook you up. You should have some stuff on the way.
I was gonna buy one, but they ran out of my size, and I'm not trying to wear one of those oversized ones. Imagine that on me. That would be like a curtain.
Yeah.
You know.
James is a medium, and if it doesn't fit him for whatever reason, like I guess I'll just take it.
Not a medium.
I guess I'll just take it if it doesn't fit him, but it's for James. Come on. Love Space Station. James's pick today as well. He has thrown some good faith in there. I actually really love what Space Station we're running. I preferred Zenile on the horizon. We've seen him shift away from that. But you know, I think ultimately this is a team that has the capability with a more traditional big boy lineup, we like to call it, with the Gibraltar, the Caustic, and the Valk. They've got so much defensive utility. They have the ability to rotate those big boys as well. And ultimately teamfight really, really effectively in a place where, you know, you do need as much defensive cover as possible. But the word defensive cover is very malleable here on Storm Point. It could look like a Bangalore smoke to some players, especially the team players who likes to run Bang here with a Valk and an Ashe.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye out for any Bangalores in this configuration of teams here on Storm Point. And if we don't have them, then it'll be interesting to see how these players and teams choose to control space and give themselves some breathing room. In the meantime, G2 will have to get Designful back on his feet. Not sure if there was an engagement here or if simply, I mean, it might be that he was driving the car. So if you're driving the Trident, you can't heal, but your teammates can heal. So that may be what's going on here. But there is a, oh, they may have stopped to do the insects, to shoot the insects.
Oh, that might have been what it is. Plus, this is, I mean, the zone is ticking. You know, these guys, they like to play a certain way, and they definitely love to bring the energy and the fun trash talk. Let's go ahead and listen to what Designful said to us heading into the beginning of this LAN as he spoke to our producers.
My name is Tyler Gardner, in-game name Designful. I've been gaming competitively for quite a long time. Ever since I was about 7 years old, I picked up an Xbox, and I got Xbox Live when I was about 10. And I was always in competitive sports and stuff growing up, and once I found out about online esports, it was just game over. T2 esports, baby. My role is IGL, to keep the other two controller idiots in check. Like, you just need to know how they're gonna play, and you gotta always be open, and it's all just about that bond, and like just knowing what your teammates are gonna do every fight, and knowing their specialties and their lack, and like always talking stuff over and never dwindling on the mistakes.
Well, two controller idiots is one way to refer to the rest of your team.
Listen, he played Xbox since he was 7. That explains everything. That explains absolutely everything.
Oh,
but
boy.
I wouldn't change it for anything.
And you know what? I wouldn't change it either. We had a great time meeting these guys. One of the actually first teams that I met when I came here. We all spent a few hours talking, chatting, gentrifying, Resulta, Designful. Really, really great lads. And I think ultimately they've got a passion for the game that it's hard to replicate and find elsewhere in the scene. They have a uniqueness about them, and I think that's why they've built up such a fan base. What they've done today, probably not enough for them to feel satisfied for their day one. But there's still 5 games of redemption possible. And you mentioned a pilgrimage. Will they find what they're looking for when it's all said and done? That's what we're going to find out here.
Their path got a bit longer as well as they were heading towards some more replicators and had to go the long way. So I don't think they're going to be engaging too much anytime soon. 19 squads remain, 56 players as the round countdown is getting close to 0, and that zone will soon close. But there'll still be plenty of space in the next one, so it may be a while before the real slaughter begins. However, we can see that there is 2 kills for Zen. They'll be chilling for the time being. You can see they are very bunkered up. And that's one thing that's really cool about multi-view, because if you get, say, an entire team at the right time, you can see some bunker busting action when they force their way in, be it by throwing a dome halfway through a door so they can enter and then try to engage once they've entered a room, etc. There are really interesting things that you can learn if you do play with a squad at home. So that is definitely a good reason to look up multi-view, get some bunker busting action on the go rather. In the meantime, we'll see Singularity playing with 2 players, sadly, doing what they can. And we wish them all the best in that respect. Very difficult decisions to be made there from the get-go in a situation like this, but fortunately it is very rare indeed.
28 points. That's their total after 2 rounds. Zen have 26. CLG have 23. With 2 players, they're beating 2 teams already with their performance. I would say tip your hat off to that and know that there's a possibility to do more. I mean, miracles can happen, and they still have, even if they don't qualify in top 20, which seem unlikely now, with only 5 games left, the losers bracket, to be able to make some comeback and fight in that losers round 2 to be able to ultimately make the playoff finals. It'll be a journey for sure.
Oh, hold on a second.
But they are not done. And look at this. They're taking a 2v3 on. Best following in. Hits a lot of great shots with the car. They're looking to get one down, find the second here. Singularity pulling off an incredible 2v3.
Oh, that's Space Station.
And they're going to take down Space Station? Are you kidding me?
They had a little help from another player. I'm not sure.
Finnel.
Yeah. Well, but either way, they got it down. They're like, full said, let's go, boys. I mean, boy, is any one of you. And Space Station have lost a 3v2 to Singularity. Space Station, where are you at? Definitely not in the right kind of orbit. They are leaving the room in 19th place on this. I don't know if you saw the little dance on the camera, but there are really strange things happening right now, and I love all of it.
No, I was just laughing because I think you lost your sweatshirt with that comment right there. I'm not sure they're sending it to you. Team Singularity, though, I was just more impressed by the fact that, again, 2 members every drop in this lobby. They are having some exceptional awareness. You don't have to fight fair when it's not necessarily an even start for you with 1 less player. So showing up at the right time, taking advantage of the third party. This is a beautiful showcase of it doesn't always have to be going your way for you to make it go your way. Some excellent perseverance from the squad.
Yeah, send these guys some love. They've been smashing their region as well. But hey, we still have championships in the future, so there'll be more chances for them. CLG, a team we haven't spoken too much about today. We ride with Malice Man, but they've got 2 kills on the board thus far. Another team looking to improve their situation.
Yep.
We'll see what they're able to do now. I'd like to see something from CLG. You know, it's a very notable brand in the space. Been around a long time in a number of different games, and we want to see them put in some work here. Here with Nano now on the Jibby. They've got plenty of space for the time being, and as we can see from the ring information, they're going to be here for a while, but they want to just show some presence and keep as much of this space as they can.
100 Thieves on the low ground. It's going to be a barometer circle. And for those who are familiar with the casual side of Apex Legends, the mode control, this is one of the maps that you can play. So be very familiar, even if you're new to the ALGS, exactly what this layout is. This is what will determine how players hold, and you also get some clues into where to hold, what to do that they decide. There's a lot of angles to play. Some of these outer cubbies, these wide open cubbies, there's this inside of the rotating mill, and of course inside barometer, the very height of the tower. There's several different layers inside at the bottom and at the top to play. You'll see the inside at the bottom highlighted right there. CLG aware of it, but they're content to stay in the rotating part of this centerpiece. So 17 squads still left. Round 3 in the process of closing. Round 4 coming up soon. It has been quite a while, and it certainly will look like a busy round 4 and 5 games. Too many teams soon to occupy this type of space, but G2 have put themselves right on top of where they want to be. This is maybe as close to a god spot as you can get on in-game like this.
Yeah, the thing is, though, they're not going to be in the next zone, and there is a team quite ahead of them, and then there's CLG further on. So I was wondering if they were going to have to, if they were going to force the issue and push that team, but with 17 squads remaining, not potentially wanting the variance. We spoke about bunker busting, and I think we may be seeing that now as Reply Totem are forced forward, forced under the bridge. Under the bridge is where they will lie, in the shallow waters. It's Singularity again. They've just been center present there. They were on the escape, but there's no escape when Singularity are lurking, and they will thank them for all the boxes and the shield swaps.
If these two break out, I'm not going to chase them because they are dishing out the pain to whoever comes to take the challenge. Team Singularity, we brought it up again. No sub available for this tournament. Unfortunately, lost a team member here with the inability to play. And now we have 2 members deciding to jump in and do it with what they've got in this lobby. And now they have not only the kill leader with 4 on the side of Elysium, but 5 points here and a decent spot heading into this game too.
If you didn't know this team, if you weren't a fan, you better be now, because they are doing things the hard way and they are really putting people in the dirt face first. This is quite a performance so far. Let's see what they're going to do now. Going to get a rotation. I was just thinking to myself, as soon as I saw the portal, I would love to see like a kidnap or something. Just something completely outrageous. But I have to say, what they're doing right now is already completely outrageous.
And of course, I mean, it's just such an incredible journey that we've seen from some of our teams in these different regions coming to play. You see the Brazilian representation from Besk and the Chilean representation from Felipe. That's Elysium. Great story there.
I don't know how G2 have found themselves in a building in the zone with the previous situation they were in. They do have a team immediately above them, and I think it might be Scars on the outside as well. So how they've managed to slip past all of these people and make their way into the building, I don't know. Maybe Scars are a different one, and it's not really clear to me just yet, but we can see, oh no, G2 and Scars are sharing the same building with more players outside as well. We can see that 100 Thieves are finding themselves in an awkward position. They're getting pounced upon and shot from multiple angles with minimal cover, so things have suddenly become extremely awkward. And hey, when this zone closes, we're going to be sub-10 squads, I reckon.
100 Thieves already performing, maybe the best on the day as far as the North American team. They're going to have to prove that. This one, even more so. Rig, Zero, we talked about the headshots from the Kraber. He's getting headshot, in fact, down right there. G2 and 100 Thieves in a scuffle on the side. Team Singularity, they find one kill on the Finnel. Don't tell me they get another one. They spot one, and it's Besk staying alive, but not enough. They get one more KP from it. It's Finnel who take them out. But a round of applause for Singularity on 2, fighting a full team of 3 and almost coming out on top. But speaking of on top, James, TSM with 18 points, leaders in this lobby for points.
Better fall back, 100 Thieves. Don't overextend. Don't chase those kills too much, because there are 14 squads remaining. And it's all about the long game, the long con, if you like. We can see Ranches is just lurking on the outside. Not sure if he's alone or if he has a team with him, but he is having a little look-see. And look how busy this area is. This heat map is at nuclear levels as Scars continue to hold quite reasonable space, in fact. Those barrels will be very useful to block the doors. As long as those doors stay up, they're relatively safe. Those doors get blown off, it might force their hand, but for now, they are okay. In the meantime, it is Fence-mageddon around GameWith. They are protecting themselves as best they can.
13 squads remaining. Shakabo, if he had his whole team alive, might be approaching from one of the best angles in this final circle. But he's not going to have that choice to wait any longer. It's going to be do or die. 9 seconds left before round 5 starts to close. Maliwan already finding Zen. Not a full takedown. CLG Vatro getting in the mix as well. But where's TSM? Leading the lobby with 18 points. They're on the outskirts, but they are on the high ground. They can push in, mirroring a team as they push as well, who's in front of them, but they're going to take the gravity lift from Horizon. They can drop down on Howls first. He's going to need some help from Reps as well, and it's an early bubble. Verholz finds the kill on his end, and that was just a solo ratting. So now, TSM, yes, 24 seconds without the dome, but they have secured a spot. They are in zone, and they're going to be able to hold here as long as they don't get pushed from any of these other teams, and why would they?
Those walls are absolutely crucial. They've put themselves in a nice position for the time being, but they've got to be real careful about where they stand. 4 bats and 4 cells for Reps, so not too bad for him at the moment, and we can see teams trying to coexist. It must be very nervous on the outside, especially with Scars on the inside. If domes are burned and bombardments come through, a team may be forced to push into these caustic barrels, and Scars are just waiting for something like that. But look at that countdown, 1 minute till the final round. Things are going to go from bad to worse to disastrous for many teams. Somehow we still have 10 teams alive?
IPN, one of the Caustic Maestros, introducing it on the side of Alliance when he was playing with them. And Caustic was thought of as a joke. Oh, if they could see it now. Oh, if they could see it now. James, he knew all along. Then we brought him in on Split 2, and he never stopped telling us. And I think that's the key. When you find something that works, work it. RPR leading this squad. They had ups and downs for sure, but we all know the potential is there. And they're certainly trying to hold on to it, James. They're going to have to move out, but they'll have a little bit of time. There's a few teams above them, and of course they've got to deal with the 3 teams on the launch, and it's depending on who they try to put their pressure onto, the teams in front of them or the teams above them who are going to drop down.
Yeah, I think if they try and stay in for as long as possible, maybe there's a world where they just put the caustic gas immediately outside the door. Yeah. So any teams dropping are going to have immediate problems. I don't know, but I'll tell you one thing. My breakfast, my cereal is moistened by the tears of caustic haters, and I'm sure we're going to see some more caustic action soon Empire, they're waiting for their time to strike. They've been missing for a while, and maybe it's time for them to turn up, but we're going to see all kinds of variants coming our way now. And hey, we might see Horizon cues on these doors to keep people stuck in these areas, but that is to come. For now, it's point blank 100 Thieves putting in work on G2. TSM in the meantime eliminated.
100 Thieves, Onmu with an incredible gravity lift, goes up and down and forces G2 to take an Arc Star to the face. They go down, 8 squads left because now it's a full G2 and Unite is getting fallen on too. TSM, as well as I believe Rig, can move in slowly. Last year in this environment, but it's Elevate who have gone down thanks to Kick, and Scar's still alive here, James, pushing in with strength. There's only 6 squads left. It's just Scar's Kick game with Team Empire, 100 Thieves, and CLG.
I think we saw the gas come out from Scars, and I think they put their dome on their own gas, if I'm not mistaken. So that would be quite the invitation. In the meantime, Scurry's down, 100 Thieves are out. We move down to 5, but for how long? Kick with some problems now. A deep run from them, but it might not last. We'll see what happens. CLG is still in this. They're putting in work now. If they've got some kind of cover, Kick indeed have been eliminated. We move down to 4 now, and the third mites are coming out. Empire trying to defend on the side. Game with the fences is still here. I want to see some late fences. Who knows what can happen? Scars trying to hide behind the smoke, throwing the barrels forward, trying to move in behind them, trying to create space, as are CLG. They've got a corner for the time being. They've got a Wraith on top. The shotguns are out as well, and we're somehow still with 4 squads.
Oh my God, Cleve comes in with a PK, but he's taking zone damage. He goes down. He bleeds himself out, but Ranges is still alive. He's taken the portal in and out. He doesn't have anything else, just a wingman in his hand. The Watson is down, and down comes the Valkyrie. It's CLG Nano Fries versus Empire Ranges, and CLG clutches the win to take the game.
We saw some deep runs. We saw Scars up there, but look how cool they are. They are like, yeah, that's a big result for them. That's a huge result for them. But you can see how focused they are. They barely react to that. A little release of energy, just a little, but that is the result they needed. Just one big result can do so much for a team, and that is exactly what CLG were looking for.
Think about it, James. They are 40th in this lobby in overall points. 23 coming into this one. With a big win here, we don't know where it is. Could be in the 17 range, could be in the 20-plus range. That already puts them towards the middle of the table. If they have one more of those, they could start looking at qualification. It's a bit of a dream run, but they've made it possible now with the win there.
Yeah, that is quite the result from them. CLG, again, we mentioned at the beginning of this game, this was a team that we haven't had the opportunity to really mention in these games so far, but now we've got plenty of reason, but that's not the only story. So many things happening in that, and of course, let's not forget the performance we saw from Singularity. Yeah. They put in numbers in that game. They're coming into these games starting with 13 kills for CLG. Where has this performance come from?
This is huge. This really puts them in the conversation. This nearly places them with where Reply Totem are, especially with them losing out to Singularity in that 2v2v3 kind of middle fight. So CLG making some huge moves. A big play from Empire to stay on the top. Scars, 8 points at this point. Not enough for them to feel comfortable with what they've been put through. They are still sitting at 35th with only 30 points, and qualification is at 65 right now for winners. So a lot more work to be done on that side of things. A pretty consistent performance in 6 from 100 Thieves as well.
Note that Game with logo is basically a fence.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. And people just don't want it. Put the fences up. People will just leave you alone. And we can see it is very heavy on the CLG side. Wow. Look at all those zeros on the right column. I do not recall seeing this before. Nothing but zeros. Space Station deleted. Element 6 deleted. IG Reply Totem. All these teams, these big names are just being... They have nothing to say for this whatsoever. Nothing. Nothing at all.
And we still haven't figured out exactly what's going on. We haven't had a chance to speak with these teams. It's very limited interaction with players, with casters. It's all a lot of speculation because these groups, once you figure it out, they rotate maps. Once you figure that out, they rotate groups. Yep. And so it's definitely a little bit of the wild, wild west here, and it's testing these players' adaptability in a map situation like this, a pressure situation specifically. But I also got to give a shout out to Singularity who performed. They got 7 points, even though they were in 15th overall. They had 7 points, which put them, I think, just 1 point behind 100 Thieves, who placed 6th. So that should tell you how well they did. But big shout outs here to CLG. Vatro, Malice Mamba, Nano Fries, a couple of these guys already championship winners of our previous circuits. I believe the summer circuit is when CLG won, and now they're putting it together again. This is a lineup that has gotten deadlier and deadlier as they played more and more.
Absolutely.
And it's not a team that you want to warm up because they have that lethality in these final circles to really be showing up and ruining your day.
Yeah, they've broken through the firmament and made it to the top. And hey,
Ooh,
those
firmament.
are big numbers on that caustic. And I'm telling you, man, I live on the tears of caustic haters. Fantastic result for CLG. 28 points, not just winning the game, but big KP on the board as well.
Yeah.
That's so crucial. It means so much. Just one victory can just shoot you all the way up. As we see, they move up 9 places now in the overall leaderboard for Group A versus Group D. Team Empire finally with a reasonable result will edge forward a little. Had a deep run again. We mentioned they've been missing for a while, but finally they're showing up once again here on Storm Point.
And James, one of the big reasons why is that if CLG continue with this, obviously they're looking at, can the teams ahead of us have a little bit of a slowdown? One of the teams currently qualified, but with games like this won't be, that's Space Station Gaming with that big 0 there. So they're holding that final spot in the top 20 currently. TSM right behind that. And you will see TSM with the performance today now push into that top 20. Space Station will drop. We'll see more as the game goes on. I'm certainly expecting Sudaraiku, even though they had 4 points, they looked more lethal over the course of 2 games.
I've got to ask a question here.
Yeah.
Singularity got 7 points from that game with 2 players. IG got 3, Reply Totem got 1, and Space Station got 0, Element 6
They
got
tied
0.
G2
I
in
could
points.
go on. I know, right?
I mean,
that's massive.
Should it count for 2/3? I mean, should we give them an extra third of points right there? Should they have like 10 or something?
Dude,
really?
Props.
I feel like it.
Props to Singularity. Respect everything you pair of guys. They're queuing duos, man.
They're killing it, man.
Yeah, that's really, really awesome. And it's great for that is a really extreme underdog story, but something that's very endearing, I think, for everybody watching. So that is really awesome. But but you know, of course, like we cover EMEA and North America. So when we see those big name teams not doing well, we wonder what's going on. But of course, we have to respect these teams coming in from other regions, putting their countries and their regions on the map. APAC North, APAC South, Latin America. Everybody is turning up from all the regions we don't normally get to see.
Exactly.
Too often. So that is fantastic. I did want to say earlier, okay, so I tried to stay up to watch APAC North, and there is one Mirage out there who will just ult and run around in circles, and one day he's going to make it here, and I'm waiting for that day.
James will not be satisfied until every single legend available to play is played in the same lobby of competitive Apex. I think we'll be casting for quite a long time together before we see that one happen. But it won't be too long before we get back to Game 3. It's our last game on Storm Point. That's coming up after the break, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few. Well, that is a picture of lovely Stockholm, Sweden, and our trophy, of course, that represents 957 days of waiting for this moment to arrive. That's right. I almost feel like I'm going to break out in song. And 5, 6, 7, 8. If you put a choir behind me, I would have done it. I swear I would have done it, or if this was New York. I think it is worthy of singing, though, James. It's a special occasion. This is the first LAN event, for those just joining us, that we have had in Apex Legends Global Series history. We had a preseason invitational in Poland, but finally seeing the clash of regions, we're getting great stories. We're seeing EMEA show up, North America.
Look at all these internet people.
Now, these internet people, we're seeing them try to interact socially in things like cafes and
people are not making eye contact, I'm telling you.
I mean,
we've got to train them.
I'll tell you, we could cast a lot of social interactions here that are going on or not going on. But also these great regions they're showing up. South America, Singularity, APAC North, and APAC South as well. Do a big conversation piece for us. It's just been phenomenal, of course, from my eyes, and I'm sure yours as well.
Yeah, it is really, really awesome. And it's just the first day of our action. But this is their one day, okay, where you can beat a game and not make eye contact. Tomorrow, it's just mad confrontation.
It's just like, James like, yo.
You better say hello.
Don't not say hello to James, especially in the hallway. I'm not going to say who, but we definitely know who doesn't say hi to us and who does. But we are respecting the fact that there's a lot going on here. And you know what? Not everybody can be as happy as Empire. Not everyone is pretty much clearly through into the winner's bracket tomorrow because of how well they've been performing over the last, 2 months now. But finally putting it together on LAN and offline, that's pretty impressive.
Hal said hello to me.
Did he?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
What was it? Did you guys talk a little bit?
No, he kind of waved to me. We were all wearing masks. We were walking up to have a meeting yesterday. So he waved to me and I kind of nodded hello. Couldn't stop and say hello properly, but definitely will do.
That's funny because I was actually behind you when I waved at Hal, and he waved to me. And I saw you bow down for some reason. I said, why is he doing that?
Oh, I had a pain in my back, actually, walking around a lot.
Yeah, just kidding.
Lifting chairs.
No. I respect it as a competitor. In fact, I almost wanted to set a little bit of the stage here. We had our talent picks over the course of today. And round one, I think the talent team was more off than we've ever been off. And I think part of that had to do with we really are having a hard time gauging what the interactions are going to be with all of the variables here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, personally, the only teams I want to pick, I mean, it's probably getting old now, but I want to pick the teams that are playing Watson. I want to pick the off-meta teams, basically. Which is why I went for Empire, because I was expecting Maggie. They didn't even really whip her out in that round.
TSM.
They did well anyway. Again, they did fizzle out.
TSM, man.
But I just like the off-meta stuff. I like to just, go it on your own, go it alone.
Yeah.
And make it work anyway. I love that stuff. It's endearing to me for reasons I cannot explain.
Well, one thing I can't explain to you, the stakes right now, Game 3, our last game on Storm Point, getting us ready for the final 3 games of today, day 1, and of course, the final 3 games before the losers bracket and winners brackets are decided. Points now are tallied up over the course of the other 14 games they have played over the course of today. They've got 4 more, including this one, to see who is going to be the 20th highest scorers. They will play in the winners bracket to decide tomorrow who will go into the grand finals on Sunday, and especially those who will have a point advantage in our special match point system. So much on the line, so much fun, and of course, so much to dissect here as we have Reply Totem and SSG. We started off with this 50-50 as well. Will the respect be there? Will one of them say, hey, it's time to challenge, let's just finish this?
Yeah, Space Station able to slip away from the platform after getting cracked with the R301, and again, some of that RNG coming through, the weapons your opponent has, you're getting beamed by an R301, you need to disengage, you need to leave the premises, you need to escort yourself out the door before you are by force. So we start with 59, of course, because Singularity are playing with 2 players. Our heroes for the day have got to be Singularity after that performance, and that is quite the zone. G2 are going to be extremely happy about this, but not just G2. IG are having a nightmare of a game. Now everything is coming to their doorstep. They have to perform now.
Well, here's the problem. They've got to go through G2, who also have to perform. This is that famous lightning rod circle.
Oh, look where G2 are going.
What does that mean, James? It just means that the team at the top of the lightning rod, well, they have their choice of really how they want to control the top of the mountain. I almost think of it as Odin sitting atop Olympus, or not Olympus, you know, atop of really Valhalla and looking down at anyone who tries to get up to the Golden Land, the Promised Land, without his permission. It's just not going to happen.
I gotta say, when we've seen this zone in North America, all I can remember is G2 absolutely melting fools. It is very hard to push them if they dominate on top of that building, and I would be surprised if we saw something different today. But for now, the Totem are gonna be smoken by the hands of UNI, Unite. So it's going to be a different team, but it's going to be more variants for Reply Totem. And again, going to see some of the teams from further away having a nice start in this occasion. And guess what?
Yeah.
Watson's out again.
Yeah, and this is not what they needed. This is a team, obviously, who's going to take every single point today because they need to move forward. Right now, I'm about in 30th. So G2 sitting at the top of Lightning Rod. This is the scenario we described. They are going to wait here. They're going to hang here. They are going to fight here, and they're going to have to now be joined by 100 Thieves. And you can hold these areas. It's not about holding, James, but winning this circle. If you are not in G2's position, I've almost never seen it happen because it ends up becoming almost just a high ground looking down fight as the circle closes in, or a heal off. And they have more time up top, essentially, to deal with all of that. So it's just a very tough situation unless you can go ahead and 3v3 fight G2 to take the God spot.
Just a reminder, Multiview is live. Click on the command center and you can watch all the G2 angles as they lord over the plebs below them or another team as well. But G2 in this particular physical position with this kind of ring, it reminds me of when you play arcade mode in Mortal Kombat and you have the tower with all the different characters, and at the top is Shao Kahn just waiting to destroy anyone who dares come through. That's who G2 are right now.
That is it. That is it. A little bit of a different game rating than the one we've got here.
Yeah.
Like to keep it E for everyone on this broadcast, of course, but you wouldn't be a gamer if you didn't understand some of those classic titles that we were forementioning. But you're right. It is really the climb to the top, whether it's Zeus on Olympus, Odin in Valhalla. Either way, there's a strong opponent awaiting for you at the top of an arduous climb. Gentrifying G2, already showing this is what happens, Game With, when you try to take our space. Lightning Rod is ours, but look at this. Designful still goes down yet again, and this is Game With Yuka who has done it. So not all of Game With finished off. Could this be maybe a change in the divine plans?
And this is one of the more interesting things. I think if this is a full NA lobby, this area is probably a bit more empty and maybe G2 are a little more feared. But this is an intercontinental lobby, and these guys, not either they don't know about this or they don't respect it. Either one is fine, and we do see some early problems for G2. So they're not going to have the respect they are used to having in this position. So things are going to get mighty interesting indeed.
That's a great point. I mean, no need to have any past traumas you don't want to live through again because they haven't experienced that trauma. This might be brand new to every single person except the TSMs and, of course, the 100 Thieves in this lobby. And so G2 are going to have to maybe fight a few more obstacles and take what should be rightfully theirs in this landing zone. And I agree that they should have a strong advantage here. They land in, I think, Storm Point, which pulls definitely more central and southern, more so than these northern circles. And when it does turn north, it is an incredibly strong showcase. So, James, TSM, they've got a lot of work to do still in transit here.
Yeah, they are picking up the scraps from the Prowlers and such. They've got some work to do. For Holston reps in white at the moment, the squishy armor. We'll see if they can level that up soon.
And TSM, we mentioned they've got a little bit of a road to travel. Well, as they travel that road, let's listen to their IGL, what many people call the CEO of Apex Legends, Imperial Hal. See what he has to say.
Our biggest rival would probably be on NRG, I guess. We always get compared to them. So I think like Sweet, you know, my biggest rival would be Sweet, and then like for team would be NRG for sure, since we've been in the same region for a while. I'm like looking forward to competing against like Ardeki for some reason. Like it keeps popping in my head. I just have like a feeling that I might like have a 1v1 for like a win or something.
I love that idea.
I know why that pops in his head.
Why?
Because he respects Hardeki as one of, if not possibly the best player in the game. But he also, it's like one of those things where you're not going to say that you might not say that you're the best,
right?
But you're not going to let someone say that they're better than you.
Exactly.
You know, and if that's a question that needs to be answered, then he wants to have that. He wants to taste that. You know?
Oh yeah. 100%. I think he put himself in that 1v1 scenario because there's going to be 2 people alive for a victory. It's going to be me and it's going to be Hardeki. And I think that belief shines through. It hasn't really shown up in all of the games in rounds 1 and 2, but certainly starting round 3 off with a win helped. This is game 3. Can they get back to it? 20 points, nothing too shabby, but only 2 points in game 2. So definitely need to do something here.
If it were to go down to the line on Sunday and be a situation between Hal and Hardeki, I think that's one of the best case scenarios. I mean, there are quite a few.
Yeah.
There are quite a few, be it in the usual suspects, be it NA versus Europe, be it a team from a further away region. There's plenty of them, but that's a very big one that could potentially happen. That's like a dream matchup.
I mean, it's
that
almost,
we could have. It's their individual skill, like physical skill, their fragging skill, but how fast they process information and make decisions as well. And there's clearly mutual respect there.
And I think that's kind of the thing, right? You know, having somebody who has pulled off some of the unthinkable moments in EMEA history and somebody who's pulled off some of the unthinkable moments in North America history, having those two finally able to clash and go toe-to-toe on the same region, to be able to shake hands afterwards and maybe hoist a trophy as a result of that, there's no other way as a champion that you would want to go out or that you would want to win. That's about as good as it gets. That's Jordan hitting a buzzer beater against Kobe or against, you know, LeBron. Really having a chance to decide all of these things in person. Obviously, we don't often get that chance in sports, but we do have a potentiality brewing here. As we take a look at our darling, kind of the Cinderella story here from South America. Singularity playing with 2 players here in the lobby. They've been able to frag out James 7 points, and obviously looking for more.
Yeah, it's quite interesting in the scenario they have. They need something real early in their engagements, otherwise they must disengage.
Yeah.
Because of course they're always in a 2 versus 3, or almost always, and indeed that will happen here. But we see that I think it was Space Station Gaming they were engaging, but Empire are just around the corner as well. And between those 2 teams, Empire have looked more promising in the games that we've seen today, and we've seen quite a few of Empire, of course. And Space Station, they'll certainly be looking for more, but I'm sure they still have their focus. And again, there are still plenty of points on the board, plenty of money on the table, if you will. Plenty of things to be collected. So as bad as it has been thus far, they can still turn things around and make something of this day, Space Station.
Well, they've got to do something now, James. And they really do have to make it happen. In fact, I'm curious the tone, the conversation, what their plans are. It's game 3, last game on Storm Point. They've got to have something in the mind to turn things around and get that big boon they've been looking for. Let's have a moment and listen in with Space Station.
You guys still need to craft?
No. I have 100 crafting yet, but...
Okay. Take zip and then let's see this bitch.
Bro, is that a Moby? What the fuck am I hearing?
I don't know. $19 squads alive. We could play top of fucking this right here.
Enemy spotted. Far.
Top of Thunderwatch.
Top of the beacon?
Yeah. Yeah, this is lightning run.
Yeah. We should go with top of Thunderwatch. Like left side.
Okay.
People are fighting like in like, you know, whatever, like far back. I mean, there might not even be anyone here.
Yeah, potentially. Everyone might be towards lightning.
Yeah.
If there is a team here, it might be like 1.
Yeah. Man, we just gotta play really slow, boys, and like let's play our fucking game, man. Like.
Yeah, just take fights,
we've been
bro.
fucking trolling, bro. Like. Walk up left. You know the Skittle Cake spot they played over here? That we can play that shit.
Which one, the fence?
Yeah, no, it's like right up here.
Oh, no. It's like the head glitch or what?
Nah, we just climb up. Yeah, climb up. Anybody here? Do you see anything?
Nah, no one here.
There's a team in tunnel.
Team over here.
Okay.
They're gatekeeping.
Yeah.
That's the duo, by the way. That's the Wraith Bloodhound.
Yeah. I don't think there's any good spots that we can actually play. I think we just kind of walk this one in.
All right.
Team right here.
I think we maybe like walk from like here, and then let me try to see like what's actually like. Yeah, lightning rod is like gonna be fucking all of that. All of lightning rod is basically gonna be taken from.
Well, feeling a bit hopeless in terms of taking anywhere in lightning rod, saying it is gonna be already closed off. They know this circle very, very well, and a team that knows fighting well, that's Element 6. They just took down TSM in the kill feed, if you were paying attention to the top right, and they've now lost Slayers, but they're looking to get the banner, knowing there are some enemies still around.
Very awkward position as they can try to keep that team in the zone, keep them tanking damage.
Wow.
Because they have to engage this fight. This is more important than recovering the banner at this point. There are some KP to be had here if they can control this choke point, and it's quite a tight one that that team are in at the moment. This is probably the worst place they could try and push from, but they have managed to make their way through, so they do get to breathe now. But Element 6 certainly have position. I don't know if they can really withstand this for a minute and a half and have the zone start to move forward again.
Yeah.
And you've always got to be conscious about, they're basically in a dead end as well. Who knows what's behind them? Because someone else might hear opportunity with all this shooting. Yeah. And maybe there's like 5 or 6 KP that someone at a higher level could potentially get here.
Well, look at this. I mean, just creating the space right here. You can tell the car and the Havoc. The Havoc, a really good weapon from range. But up close, Case Winning has to use the car. He does have the turbocharger here on the Havoc, so he's doing plenty of damage, but it's not enough. It is going to be Elevate taking down Element 6. Case Winnie, for all the great in-game leading he's been doing over the course of today, it is not enough to in-game lead out of that situation. Elevate continue with their onslaught. 23 points so far on this round.
Yeah, they don't know what's ahead of them once they get to the top of this tunnel, but we shall see. They've got a lot of running to do, and here we see a replay of the engagement with TSM while we were having the listen in earlier on. Some wingman shots being fired off, some hunting from Nags now. And that's a great scout for a young lad to get, especially on land, so that'll be good for the confidence. And there is the end of TSM, but not just TSM, in that overhead environment, if you will. And speaking of, we've got Reignite, who are going to be overhead someone if they exit from the wrong position. So we'll see how things go, because the ring's going to start to move in just under 8 seconds.
And Reignite, 0. Do not let a Kraber get into his hand. Sharky, 3415, and JMW rounding out a squad representing our APAC South region and doing such a great job at that. So much potential to pop off. And SSG, as we caught up with them with a listen in, just trying to find a spot to play. Players, by the way, who have been playing quite well, in fact, leading in terms of kills. You can see it right here. Ranch is at the top. Empire somehow have some of the best results, and that's probably why, because he continues to be that successful. And look at this. Trying to get into zone. The ring is closing. They're going to have to make a very treacherous route somehow work. And Reignite, they already know this is well-occupied territory, but they're going to find a little angle here. It's just, can they stabilize? They've got the bubble. Will this be enough, James?
Yeah, what happens once this bubble is gone? That is my question, because I think I maybe saw a charge rifle. Oh, there are angles on them, and there's more rotations coming through. And you can see on the radar, there are 3 crypto drones flying around as well, as we see Valko after Valko into the Nox gas. Outside you go. It is not welcome at all. This is a hostile environment, and it has been busy for quite a while.
Reignite taking down Elevate. They try to come in, but they're a day late and $1 short here, and Reignite know it. They're not letting their foot off the gas pedal at all, and so they're going to find a few kills and clean it up. That's KP for Reignite. And they will sit with a wingman, a defensive bombardment to go up top and apply pressure, making sure no one comes down to push. And even if they do, they've got caustic barrels aplenty to dissuade them.
I'm really curious about where these crypto users are and when it will be opportune time for them to start using their crypto. Well, speaking of which, we see one there, but their shields are wrecked already, so that won't do too much damage. They're looking to get their team up, get their weight up, get their shields up as well. 13 squads remain, and look at that incoming ring. You simply cannot coexist at this level in that area, so it is time to say goodbye, and it's saying hello to some thermite grenades first. Again, trying to get rid of these crypto drones being really painful, but that charge rifle, angles are everywhere. The cover is limited, and teams are gonna go.
Designful picks up scars with a bow check bow. James, I would have expected you to start popping off right there from long range downtown. He hits the shots that count, and Scars in trouble. IPN goes down as well as Sudaraiku. And can they continue to be successful? Designful on the high ground again, looking like an archer, whether it's from Greek mythology, the Artemis. No need for the hunting boar as well. The game is coming to them, both literally and figuratively, as the circle starts to close. Round 4, 5 seconds left. They're gonna have to make a move, but everyone knows the top is where you want to be, but that's the only spot that's not available.
Peppering with the bow check, 37 arrows, and Onmu is the next victim for the bow check, finishing off the job as well. Thank you and goodbye. Ticket has been served. Looking for more now is Designful with the bow check, and we can see they've got a Trident for cover up top as well, which is real smart. Didn't they lose a player earlier? How did they get them back into the game in such a busy area?
That's right.
We'll have to find out later. In the meantime, Empire trying to get something done. Is that a Bangalore ult that we're seeing? I think it might be from Ranches actually. So the Bangalore is back on Storm Point, but there are still 11 squads up, so we'll see how deep they can go as they get into closer ranges.
G2 sitting. Oh, with another one on the bow check. Can they miss? I don't know, but if they don't start picking up from long range, they're going to lose out KP, and we know how important that is to stay in the top. But it is Empire, Ranches, and Cleve now becoming the kill leader, showing you exactly why they are here to play, representing EMEA as your #1 seed. Boy, oh boy, they have proved that they deserve that spot right here in G2. Still not contested for very good reason. 10 squads remaining, 1 minute left before round 5 starts to close, and it becomes Sudaraiku forcing the engagement here, and this is a good idea as well. As you can see, Bullet L on the crypto drone. Is this the time to try to hit the EMP? He's got 3% before he can actually do it. It would have been beautiful, but now he might just save it for the next fight.
Yeah, but where do they use it? When do they use it? How do they capitalize on it? You want to do it, you want to use it for 2 different things, to get some kills afterwards or to keep a team off your back. We've got the bombardments coming through as well. And who knows, maybe if somebody domes in plain sight to avoid a bombardment, you can try and crack that dome and get some angles on them. A few different ways it can be used, but you've got to pick the right time. This is like an ant farm. We've got people crawling all over the place, actually, just trying to climb and everything, trying to find some cover, trying to avoid grenades and all sorts, and angles are very limited in where is safe for you to stand. And we can see they might try and use some barrels reignite to try and give themselves some angles, to try and hide behind maybe, to try and just have a little peek. They've got a little corner to themselves, but again, that ring is closing soon, and we're going to see some people going off the side of this building.
Sudaraiku and Invictus Gaming currently fighting for that low ground. Empire having eyes on them.
Where are they going to go?
They have no idea where they are going to land right now. This might just be gathering information. This might just be going up to the sky and say, don't look up. As we come down, pay attention to somebody else as the round closes. They're going to land dangerously close to G2 and Empire, but G2 find another target in sight and Designful. He picks up Zen with Wolf with a bow check bow. That stays doing work, and Invictus Urban is going to find Reignite. These teams are collapsing on each other, James. There's just not enough room to hold.
I don't know what the plan was there, but that definitely wasn't SpaceX, because they were not going to land with any kind of safety. IG will be lost in 8th place, and Designful is still lording over the plebs below. Woo! The ant farm is getting more sparse now as we have 18 players remaining. We moved down to 7, but there are so many moving targets. This is like an ADHD game of target practice. There's people all over the place. Still G2 just enjoying the cover up top. They've got a Trident up there as well. And but they need to think about conserving their ammo as well, as it might start to get low considering how many people are here. But of course, there are going to be death boxes everywhere. But when do they choose to drop? That is the all-important time later on. But Sudaraiku trying to survive in the meantime, but Space Station say no.
Oh man, SSG with a triple take. We haven't seen that one much today, but it's certainly the shotgun sniper that is perfect for a situation like this, where you may have to shoot from afar, and you may just have to get up close and dirty to get the job done. G2 on the bow check bow. Designful. Does this man miss? He's picked up a red Evo. Is it time to use one of those shield cells? He might just be waiting to take a little bit more damage. Doesn't want to waste it. And of course, with 5 squads left, maybe the best defense is offense. You can see Unite here. Saku with a little rat strategy. Himself, the notorious rat strats come into play, but there's nothing notorious about Empire. They know they can play 3v3 against anyone, but will they have the chance? Because if they don't go out now, James, they might just be in for a heal-off.
Man, that rat spot's going to hit the spot better than a cheeseburger if he can get a deep placement for his team. There are 5 squads remaining at present, but how much more space does he have? Eventually, he's going to go straight into the hands of Empire by the looks of things. We'll try to keep an eye on that, but there is so much action happening. CLG outside the door. This thermite could be absolutely disgusting.
Why not?
But they've got to think about that window to their right-hand side as well and be real careful about that. The entire team is standing here. This is going to be a war of attrition, and it's going to start and end very quickly when it does. There's a gap in the door. There's the thermite, and things are going to start to get real painful now.
G2 up on top, and it's fine because CLG leading the lobby right now with 35, and of course Team Empire as well as Space Station Gaming staring at each other, leaving G2 at the top. Those little silhouettes right there. When is Designful going to fall? You know it is Lightning Rod, and if you challenge Zeus at the top of the mountain, you better bring the Thunder. But G2 have no team in sight to fight. They go down, and will this be enough? They bring all 3 members of it looks like potentially SSG up and out. They almost knock someone off the map, but Designful is still alive, fighting into the gold shield. He hits almost all the spray, and it is gentrifying in the purple who falls. G2 out for the count.
Where's the rat? There's the rat. How did they find the rat? I can't believe that must have been from a scan or something. They don't have a scan. I don't know how they found that position, but indeed they have. Perhaps they heard some flying. Either way, we're down to 2 squads now. Empire have picked the right time. They're up close with the shotgun, with the Belize as well, and there it is. Empire will finally get some big points on the board once again.
They are conquerors. Just like the Roman Empire, they saw somewhere they wanted to occupy, and they took it with brute force. They do it here, and they usurp Lightning Rod from G2, and they claim the top spot. Ranches, Maliwan, Cleve, top of the leaderboard in kills, top of the leaderboard in points right now in game number 3, and wave it to their fans and the other players like they know what they just did. We see you, Empire. Y'all are a team to watch out for.
Wow, what's going on here? Are they trees?
All right,
These guys are super happy. Respect. Man, that ending was as spicy as Shin Ramen. That rat on the outside of the building, that's a fantastic spot. Props to whoever found that, but there was so much going on there. G2 must have had their dome, but I would imagine, I don't know if they had multiple bombardments coming their way, but they just had nowhere to hide. They had nowhere to get their shields up, but it was a deep run from them. They love those late zones. They thrive in those late zones. That position is so strong for them. It's so hard to just climb up and try and grab an ankle of a G2. They just want to kick you down constantly, but this time they don't get a W. And Empire, who went missing for quite a while, have come back with a vengeance.
It's a great performance from a lot of teams in that final circle. You can mention SSG and the Patience, although not a lot of kill points there. Great placement points. Empire doing it on all accounts. And of course, G2 staying at the top but not being able to finish higher than 4th. It was Unite who stood as the lone rat. That was Saku who stayed alive and got those extra points to almost make G2 lose what I think would have been at least 2 points to add to their total, put them in a clear 3rd. It was SSG who lasted till 3rd place. CLG, who are already leading in the lobby, taking 15 points there on the game, and Team Empire with a 25 bomb. 13 kills, 1st place. I mean, this is not only the team that we need to pay more attention to. This is looking like a team that, if they continue this for the rest of this round, are becoming one of the favorites to win this entire event.
Yeah, they took a bite, and it was a juicy one indeed. But it's looking pretty dry once again towards the bottom. Element 6 with another rough game. 3 kills for them. TSM went out early. We saw they went out at the hands of Element 6, who essentially got third-partied afterwards. Reply Totem, again, losing those early fights. And 100 Thieves, who we have been talking about a lot so far today.
Yeah.
That wasn't, you know, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. This was on the back end of things. Game With had that rotation, I think, into the hands of G2. Didn't last very long there. Gave them a little hell towards the end, but as we saw, G2 were able to stabilize and get back into the swing of things later on.
Yeah, you could tell that there's definitely a lot going on when it comes to decision making in a Northern Circle. That's kind of the ire, you know, the benefits and the cons of playing up north, because you've got most of the time a lot of rotation area to travel. You've got to make it down to fish farms, to barometer, to launch pad, but if it does come north, you know you're going to be in a top 5 situation pretty easily as long as you play your cards right. This, a team that I think has been impressive in so many different ways, representing EMEA and kind of showing up as not a dark horse, but a team that has proven with their points that they should be in the caliber of talking position like TSM and NRG coming in, like Alliance, like players, but weren't for whatever reason. Maybe it's because they haven't established this brand in the same way that some of those orgs have, but certainly in Apex Legends now, there is no mistake. This is the team to watch in terms of their performance over the course of the day.
Yeah, they were so interesting to watch on the online stages. They're now coming to LAN again. They started the day well, and they're threatening to end the day well, despite the middling performances they had, where they the middle games rather, where they didn't really score so many points. They racked up so many early on that they're still chilling towards the top of the leaderboard, and that is a big scoring game for them to get back to the very tip top once again.
Well, to be able to do that in a lobby like this and to be able to replicate it in what is probably the most difficult situation again and again with new teams you're playing every single round over the course of 14 games, 15 now, it's pretty impressive. We've got 3 more coming up, but before we do that, let's send it to the panel for a little halftime here, talk about what we've just seen and set us up for the next 3 on World's Edge.
Thanks, gents. I'll talk about what we just saw. A rat that was like looking for a needle in a haystack, and yet they did. But Elfish, as we talk about our first 3 games here, you can't not talk about a little prediction you made before we started game.
Yeah, you know, I feel so vindicated, and I feel so good for Reignite as well. We were talking about Zero with the Kraber, and what do you know, straight into game number 1, he picks up a Kraber somehow. You know, you were saying he always finds one, and we actually, funnily enough, we're sitting in the green room. We heard the Kraber, and we were sort of talking about it. We were saying, was that a Kraber? Was there a Kraber, or was that a Sentinel? Like, we heard the shot whiz past the team. I think it was G2. And then in the kill feed, we saw Zero with the Kraber getting a knock on the G2, which ultimately kind of ended their run in that first game. And, you know, he went on to do some pretty good things with it. And then...
And not only 1, but 2. They find a second Kraber. We see Sharky pop up in the kill feed. Old mate also taking a ping, and then I think when Zero run out of bullets, they
swapped it. Yeah,
they shuffled it across and like, here's an extra mag.
So this is, I guess, what you can see, by the way, on the replays. This is exactly what we're talking about. Zero was just going absolutely nuts with the Kraber. He was dropping down behind that that shield and setting back up as soon as he got the shot ready to go in the chamber. And you know, ultimately it wasn't enough to get a win. TSM, the major benefactors of that first game, but overall, we're just excited about Apex stuff. So.
And there's the man, the myth, the legend himself, looking great, smiling as all get out. But let's talk about that match number 2. We saw that Southern Point bridge really utilized in this as well here, Gino.
Yeah, well, look at Singularity. I mean, you know, the duo, it's so tough to work it when you've got other people to go up against. Everyone else is a trio at this competition, of course, right? And, you know, like, as soon as you get a knock in a fight, like, you push it. It's a 3v2. You have that advantage. They start off in that position in every single battle they take, and yet still, they manage to come out on top in a bunch of these in game 2 here, and it's so impressive.
They had like 5 or 6 kills in game 2 as a duo, which is pretty damn impressive, you know? Like, I don't think half of us would get 5 or 6 kills going in if we were playing with 5 or 6 people on our team. So, it is what it is, I guess. Great stuff from Singularity, but the big thing that we have to talk about, I think, not only for game 2, but just in general, is of course CLG, right? They go from the bottom of the table. They were literally in 40th coming into this 3rd lobby, and now they're actually winning this lobby right now. They are at the top of the scoreboard for our final lobby, and that's what I was talking about at the very start. I was saying it is still mathematically possible for any team to make it from the bottom to the top if they have a really big 6 games here, and maybe that's what we're seeing.
Well, we talk about the dare to be great scenario. We talk about momentum. We talk about motivation, and CLG had all of that in spades, and they capitalized on it, which I gotta say, Genome, this is something as we take a look. Even, I will tell you, Team Empire has also been capitalizing certainly today, and we just saw that as well, of course, taking game number 3.
Yeah, you know the sense I get from Team Empire is that today is almost like this like testing lab.
Yeah.
Right? And you know, they've been chucking all this weird stuff out, different legend compositions, game to game, map to map, taking it different every single time. And when you think about the format, right, we've talked about this, it's 20 teams going to the upper bracket, 20 teams going into the lower bracket. And with that, you know, you don't have to worry too much as long as you're in that top 20. You keep both of your lives and the competition's fine, right? Now, they're taking this chance, being like, it doesn't matter what we play, we're still going to get into the top 20. We're that good. But at the same time, you know, they limit test everything, and then going into tomorrow, they might be saying that we're in a better position than anyone else because we know what's going to work, and we've had the chance to test that out in the tournament server.
I mean, what an interesting idea to test out this on the most dangerous lobbies of the split. Well, speaking of, let's take a look at what the lobby math has to say, because we are looking at some very interesting numbers, I'm sure, as we talk about. And my gosh, Alfish, I got to give it. CLG coming in numero uno, A versus D.
I mean, that is a massive turnaround for CLG, you know, and I think that's kind of the beauty of how this competition has been playing out. You can't really take for granted the way that teams have been performing so far today. Some teams started awfully in the first lobby. I mean, we spoke about G2 having a pretty bad start to the day and then bouncing back and having a good second lobby. That's kind of the same story now for CLG. They've had bad lobby 1 and 2. Coming into lobby number 3, they are performing phenomenally, and they're maybe doing enough, right? 40 points in 3 games. You extrapolate that over the course of the entire 6 rounds, maybe they get 80 points. Now, granted, 80 points would be a pretty good shout, and we are moving on to a different map, so there is, you know, maybe some caveats there. But if they can do that, they can get in the top 20.
I think the other big one there was TSM. Now, they were sitting on 21st, so they are right on that bubble, right? So they need that 10 at least probably placing in this 3rd round here to make sure they make it to that winner's bracket tomorrow, which they would absolutely have expected coming into today. So if they keep that up, they keep the pace they've set so far in the first half of this round, we'll probably see that.
I'll tell you, that bubble is going to be so important, not just for motivation, not just for that potential momentum, but certainly the math there is going to find us perhaps in that winner's bracket or that loser's bracket. And the grind is real. Talk to me a little bit about that. I mean, we talk about the bright lights. We talk about having to come from different global areas. How does that sort of help and dictate, especially now that we are in 15 games of 18, the real, like,
I mean, you know, some of these teams are boot camps, right? So they've probably been in Sweden for a little bit longer, maybe giving themselves time to sort of acclimatize, you know, not have that jet lag affecting them. Some of them came in a little bit later. Some of them were kind of, you know, playing it safe and wanted to make sure they were here at the tournament, all ready to go and just playing from their home setups. But yeah, look, an 18-game day is huge, and I think the grinders, you know, like, honestly, like, Hal is one that comes to mind. I mean, I think there's a famous clip of him sort of saying, like, this is all I do, you know, like, I come in here, and this is my office at the computer every day. You know, I'm not off there playing, like, single-player games or, you know, relaxing. No, it's Apex. Apex is life, okay? And I think for a guy like that, you're playing an 18-game day, this is his home stadium.
Well, and under the bright lights, we really genuinely appreciate it. But as we mentioned, this is our main stream. But guess what? Our secondary stream is popping off as well. Of course, a huge thank you to Nice Work for doing that. And Elfish, we're looking at Alliance here.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to say a healthy lead.
That does look like a pretty healthy lead to me. And to be honest, they've been really good all day. I mean, they had a bit of a dip in that second lobby. They just did drop off a little there. But as a general rule, their consistency has actually been really, really solid. And I know they're one of the teams that didn't sort of step towards the top end within the EMEA region, but they certainly seem to be performing here. Home ground advantage, who knows about that? Swedish team, Swedish location, Swedish org, it's all coming together.
I can tell you, I didn't look, like, if I had not have looked at, you know, the standings at all, I could have told you that they were on top of this, because as we were standing here waiting to go live, I saw them walk across in front of us, and the swagger from Hackers was like the most unbelievable, like, like, arms swinging out. I mean, like, you could tell they were feeling it. You could tell they'd had an amazing start to round 3.
Absolutely. I also want to showcase real quick, Crazy Raccoon coming up 12 spaces. Elfish, I feel like that's going to be something, a contention, certainly a lobby disruptor, to be sure.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. I mean, it looks like they finished second in round 3 of this lobby, so that would be where that's coming from. They're getting a lot of points out of that second place that they did have. They had a 20th, and then a second, so I guess they really got, I think actually all of their points in one game. They had 0 points from the first 2, so they've had a bit of a roller coaster of emotions. Obviously not so much the case for those teams toward the top end. We once again see GMT down towards the bottom half. Revenant Esports, who had a really good performance in a couple of the lobbies that we got to watch earlier, not putting it together tonight. And maybe it's just a case of, again, that fatigue starting to set in, right? You've gone so hard for so long. Eventually, it's got to come crashing down.
But their Indonesian compatriots, we saw they were towards the top there. And Daya, I think, were pushing. Oh, they were 10th coming into round 3 in the overall standings.
They're doing really well.
So another like top 5 position from them. All of a sudden, they're on track to be the top APAC South team.
It's kind of looking like
into,
it.
that winners bracket game.
Wow, amazing, and a big up to all of the regionality that we have been showcasing here. You know, we talked about the teams from the different regions that have pulled out wins, and listen, they're all balanced. EMEA, NA, APAC North, APAC South, South America. We're not talking about any particular region, Elfish, that has popped off and dominated, and that, I think, is something to be said.
Well, I mean, again, that's kind of going back and tying into what I was saying before, where it's really hard to predict how this tournament is going to play out, because from one lobby to the next, you've seen, you know, one team have a terrible performance into having a phenomenal performance, and then you start the day off with EMEA and North America having really good games, and then we jump into the second lobby, and APAC North starts to really do very, very well. And now APAC South seems to be having their time in the sun. And South America obviously showing some pretty good wins here and there as well. And it's not even just the teams that you expect to see it from. Like, it's not the top seeds all the time. And in fact, for the most part, it really hasn't been the top seeds from a lot of the regions that have been performing. It's been some of the bottom seeds. Like,
Dewa isn't
5th seed from APAC.
Element 6, 4-7 is the top APAC North team coming into round 3 with 115 points.
With that
They're doing
Watson
really
pick, man.
well. Yeah.
So it's just like, how do you go into tomorrow and say, oh, this team or that team's going to do really well? I mean, we can look at today's results and say, over the course of today, maybe Alliance is the top team of the 18 games. It's looking like that may be the case. Obviously, still pretty early to say that, but you go into tomorrow and everything could change completely because it's a completely different scenario. It's an elimination tournament tomorrow.
It is, absolutely. Well, one thing that has certainly made the difference for some of these teams are the team comps, obviously, the legends. And, you know, you talk about that. We've got different teams trying out different things. Genome, let's take a look here at these pick rates. And anything surprise you here as we take a breakdown?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the first time I've seen the raw stats actually from today, but I was expecting, Valkyrie to be above Gibby. We've definitely seen the flex on that sort of defensive support character in a lot of these compositions, whereas at the moment, you know, until, I don't know, maybe something happens with Valkyrie's ult cooldown, I think she's going to stick there at the top for quite a while. The rotational, like how far you can rotate with Valkyrie is just unmatched at the moment. And then sort of moving down further down the list, Caustic, expecting that to be fairly high up there as well. Not only because there's a couple of regions, NA, APAC South especially, that really like to put that in there, but also when you start mixing and matching with these different regions, Caustic is one of the team, or one of the legends that kind of forces other people to want to play more Caustic so that they can deal with you.
Absolutely. Speaking of dealing with people, let's talk about the Hardeki-Hal rivalry. This is one certainly storied throughout our split. It's definitely one that has taken a lot of Twitter gas from Elfish or Genome, either one of you. Anything you want to talk about there, because they've been a part of these lobbies, especially here in Group Number A.
I mean, I think it's a fun one, right? Hal was even talking about it in the SOT that we got to watch of his from TSM's perspective, saying, you know, this was maybe a scenario that he could foresee happening. And I think it's one of those storylines, one of those rivalries that you really want to see sort of built up. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be those two. It can be region-specific, it can be player-specific, it can be team-specific. It doesn't really matter. But that's kind of what we're here all looking for, right? Is specific rivalries, things that can pop up that are going to be really fun. And that certainly is going to be one. If it does get to a situation where you've got TSM going up against players at some point, trying to find that rivalry, trying to find that 1v1 for a victory. What a storyline that would be. What a great finish to a game.
Absolutely. And we've seen some griefing done. Let's not get it twisted. So I wonder if this playoff will help birth some rivalries that transcend boundaries.
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many contests at the start of these fights, right? I mean, I feel like you guys keep bringing up like Sentinels, and it's like, you know, that's one rivalry that's sort of like done and dusted already, because one team made it to playoffs and one team didn't, right? So, but now, for the first time in 957 days, we have a global competition, a global LAN. We're all together, and I think that's, you know, that opportunity for a lot more of those storylines to start coming together, as you know, I'm sure in a year's time when a couple of these teams come back and they play together again, they'll be like, these guys contested our POI last time, and we're sure as hell not going to let them win this time.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a look. Speaking of POIs, let's take a look at what those maps are going to be coming in as we mentioned, we started on Storm Point in round 1, going to World's Edge, and we're going to do it again in round number 3. Elfish, this is obviously the map that people have the most time on. They have the most experience, and certainly it seems they are often the most comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because it doesn't really feel like today we've seen a whole lot of consistency map to map with the lobbies. You know, we've seen the first 3 rounds sort of lean a certain way, a couple of teams really having good performances on the first map, whatever it may have been, and then we swap over to the second map, and it's kind of dominated by a different bunch of teams. So it's kind of got me thinking here for our final lobby of the day, are we going to continue to see that consistency from CLG, from Empire, you know? Are those the teams that are going to move into this second map and continue to play well, or are we maybe going to see, like TSM, for example, they did okay on the first map, but they haven't really like dominated or anything like that. Are they going to come in and go back to something a little bit more comfortable, maybe go back to the Wraith for HAL, for example, and then have a bit of a better performance to finish the night off? It's a question that I don't think we really can say we've got the answer to. 100 Thieves, maybe, Genome is another team that I'm kind of looking at to step up here, probably 100 Thieves and G2. They seem to be like the pick of the bunch when it came to the predictions that haven't really come together so far. So maybe new map, winds of change, hopefully that turns things around for them.
Absolutely, and I will say that this all leads to something, of course, that being tomorrow. Whether you're in the winner's bracket or the loser's bracket, it certainly will find yourself where you're supposed to be, Genome. I guess that's maybe the best way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, whether these teams were expecting to have a great performance and be in that winner's bracket, or perhaps they were, you know, just happy to be here, and you know, they'll take their chances, whichever one they find themselves in tomorrow. I mean, yeah, look, we went through the scoreboard before, right? Like, there's definitely some teams who are at risk of being disappointed, you know, probably by their fans, in themselves even. Yeah, there could be some self-reflection to do tonight, Kate.
Very good way to put it there, but I will say there are some teams that if I was in the loser's bracket, I would not want to face. I'm thinking of, you know, like some of these teams on the bubble. If moments ago, TSM was on the bubble, right? GMT, the bubble. Some of these teams that will make a path through those losers brackets and can really potentially use the motivation here, Elvish. That's kind of where I'm at, where the motivation and the momentum that could propel them.
Yeah, look, I mean, it is a difficult one to call, isn't it? Because I look down the list and, you know, you mentioned TSM, but I think I could probably pull 5, 6, 7, 10, 15, maybe 20, all 20. You know, every single team here looks in some capacity to be a really good contender, right? I'm looking at teams that have picked up wins that are still in the bottom 20, right? Sutaraiku's there. We've seen really good games from Revenant. CLG, obviously, are having a good game here for the third lobby, but they're in the bottom 20. Maybe they don't make it out. So there's a bunch of names that I think you can pull out and say, well, this team actually really has the potential to kind of cause a bit of a ruckus. Whether they're going to make it easy for themselves to get out of the loser's bracket or not doesn't necessarily matter, in so much as it makes your life difficult, regardless, right? Whether Sutaraiku's playing well, whether NRG's playing well, etc. As long as they're doing a bit of work in that lower bracket, they're still going to make your life hell.
Yes, they are. The scary, scary lobbies are still scary, scary. Well, guess what? That scary lobby is coming up on World's Edge right after the break, so stick around. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody, to the last series of group stages here, as we have 3 more maps left. I'm Fallout, joined alongside Vicky Kitty, as it all comes down to this: 3 more games to determine who will make it to the winner's bracket tomorrow when we kick off the championship bracket, and who will have to start in the loser's bracket. This is going to be a pivotal 3 matches.
What a journey it's been, Fallout. We've had a total of 18 games by the end of today when we're done with these last 3 games, but now as we move over onto World's Edge, we've had a bit of a swap up between the maps, whether we start on Stormpoint or whether we start on World's Edge, and it's been quite interesting to see how, especially Group A, since this has been the consistent group that we have been able to cover specifically here on the mainstream, how they have adapted, how we've been seeing some composition swaps looking at TSM and their performance now in this round 3.
Absolutely. And of course, as we jump into game number 4 here on World's Edge, I think I want to cover some important notes real quick. For those that are maybe watching for the first time, they're waking up in North America or maybe unfamiliar with the format. Important to understand, I think it's one of the best formats of any BR, and especially in esports, but we started in group stages today, and that is going to allow for basically the winner's bracket and loser's bracket positioning starting tomorrow. So important to note, every team makes it to tomorrow, but the top 20 teams, there's 40 teams here total, the top 20 teams will make it to the winner's bracket tomorrow, which means they can lose and get bottom 10 in that winner's bracket round 1, and then go down to the loser's bracket to play against the top 10 teams from the loser's bracket. The bottom 20 teams from today will automatically start in the loser's bracket. That's the stake, so it makes no difference if you get 20th or if you get first. Really, in the grand scheme of things, you both end up in the winner's bracket as we are launching across World's Edge to kick off game number 4. Other important note, $1 million at stake here. These are the split 2 playoffs, but of course, what also is at stake, perhaps more important, Vicky, 30 teams will qualify for the ALGS championships as we start pretty hot here on Harvester. It looks like we have a contention.
Oh, we got the point with the barrel onto the dome right there. But you talk about what's at stake. I mean, you do not want to risk these early 50-50s, which is why that team just actually respected Team Empire in this situation. Wow. They're giving them this space, but Team Empire, is that with his own Arc Star?
My man,
it's okay, we didn't watch. We didn't see that.
They're bonking barrels, they're Arc Starring themselves. Team Empire, I know you're confident. I know you're playing well today, but maybe a little too much confidence. But no, I'm not sure what team this is that they're up against. And we're going to see a little bit of a smoke here on display. And on board now.
Ooh, the Mad Maggie.
Oh, Mad Maggie. Sorry, I take that back. I thought it was a Bangalore smoke. It's actually Mad Maggie on display here as Team Empire running the Maggie Cop again. They find themselves in early 3v3.
Oh, but no one goes down. Rangers goes down with them here, too. It's only up to Cleve on the Mad Maggie. I mean, they were running this with such confidence, like you were saying, but now they're forced to back up. It was CLG that was on the other side here.
Counter Logic Gaming, and that's massive, Vicky, because CLG, for those that don't know, basically took the final spot under the nose of Sentinels, a team that many would argue deserves to be here, is certainly a top 10 team in North America. And CLG, well, they were in last place. They were in 40th place coming into this series. They have popped off a game win, a dominant first 3 games on Stormpoint, looking very solid. Second place in the last game. And guess what? They just took out Team Empire, the #1 team from EMEA in Pro League. A great start for CLG.
Why are you running? You cannot hide from us. This is a team right now. CLG is on the top of the overall standing so far in this group. And like you said, they needed this because we didn't see them anywhere when they were starting from the bottom on Group D.
Yeah, and here, take a close eye here at where the zone's going to pull. It looks like Southwest is where we will be going. And that's important to note. Why? Obviously, we all know, we're all well aware that G2, dropping Thermal Station. One important note, though, big shout out to my man Mike Nowitzki, who helped put together some great analysis and stats and actually proved that where the zone pulls and where a team drops, even if it's a cross map, actually does not have much of a correlation to success. Just as many teams would win games from the very northeast, for example, Climatizer drop here as a team that is in zone. So again, don't think that the zone pulling is necessarily going to help G2. In fact, many would argue G2 is an edge fighting team. They like to play aggressive on edge, which means they sometimes like those far pulling zones. We'll see how G2 fares here. They're going to get themselves at least the best position in their eyes.
We've even made the joke before that we've seen G2 see these thermal stations and they don't take the God spot. They don't take the sniper tower sometimes. Although you could see for this circle, it is going to be pulling a little bit more north from thermal here. Yep. But we've seen it time and time again with G2 where they see the circle could be in their favor, and yet they still wander off. They still want to prefer playing the edge of the circle like you were mentioning.
And I was talking to Nasky, and you know the reason for that, a big interesting part of that is you really just don't know where the zone's going to pull, right? Just because it's a southwest zone doesn't mean you can pick the one God spot. There's 4, 5 different variations of where the final ring will end up, and it's hard to predict. It really is. You're really taking a bit of a gamble, 20% of a chance, if you will, and a little bit of RNG that's kind of associated. So again, just because you're there, just because you think you get that God spot, you're really, in a lot of ways, hoping for the best God spot. It wasn't until Ring 3, Ring 4 where you really can start to predict where it's going to go.
And they want to be able to start predicting that right now. They're going to be able to get the beacon scan. They were able to also get the scan with the passive Valk, with the redeploy on some of those players on the bottom. But Reignite now in a fight themselves here, forcing out the dome already. Zero backing up a little bit. We saw exactly what Zero could do with his hand on the Kraber.
That's right. And of course, in this lobby, Reignite, well, guess what? Players is not in this lobby. A team that's known for dropping Sorting Factory. Now, of course, Lava Siphon. So they're going to get all of Lava Siphon really for free. And obviously, Sentinels are not here. Sentinels is the team that has always dropped Lava Siphon as well. I'll speak to that earlier. Obviously, big shout out to Lou and the boys. Senox crusted home. A team that obviously I think many people are aware could easily be contending for a first place finish here, but unfortunately was not able to qualify. Hopefully, maybe we'll see them at Champs. And that's what's interesting, though. They'll have to qualify in the last chance qualifier now. If they don't qualify by points against the likes of teams like the Tripods. My boy Nick Merckx is competing through the Challenger Circuit. Any open Challenger Circuit team can grind through and beat a team like Sentinels possibly if they don't qualify through points to make it to ALGS Champs. It's an amazing rise to the top story. I love it.
I love being able to tell the stories about the Challenger Circuit too, just because it coincides parallel to the Pro League here. 100 Thieves also looting up. They have the information of the beacon here too. See, Anu is still on that Ashe. They're running the double composition just in terms of movement between the Ashe and the Valkyrie to taxi over Scurry over where they want to position themselves, but playing this very patiently. Again, the last 3 games here, Elevate in some trouble though. Elevate losing sleep in the process. Bin is trying to get away. Nel's the only one up and healthy, but not for long. One shot themselves here, putting out the bombardment in hopes that they stop chasing him.
And it's actually going to be Fennel, Japanese team. They actually have a controller player. It's Piniter on this squad, and had a chance to chat with him before the tournament, before the competition. Has a ton of confidence and definitely a personality. Says he's from another planet, literally, you know. So hey, more power to him. My man is out here doing all types of alien-like things on the sticks, if you will. But right now, it is Fennel who's going to take out Sleep from Elevate, the South American squad. So far, advantage for the Japanese.
Now Nellis being the only player left from Elevate, what is he going to do? He may not have the opportunity to recover this banner. I mean, we know where that circle is going to be pulling. We know it's pulling a little bit north of Thermal Station. Now wondering where it's going to pull after that. We've seen those circles cover over the choke point by where that beacon that G2 was able to actually get the information from sometimes south of Lava Fissure by those buildings close to the geyser. We've seen a lot of those end circles happen there as we take a look at the teams that are still rotating away from Fragment.
Yeah, what's so interesting though, Fennel actually drops in launch site. So a little bit to the west, closer to the zone, by the way, and it just goes to show a lot of teams in APAC North is really one of two things. Some of them like to play aggressive. They like to int, and we've seen a lot of that this weekend. Some of them like to play early rotate. The Watson, the Crypto teams are the exact opposite, early rotate and chill, and we're seeing Fennel, a squad that likes to play aggressive, showing that aggression by actually double backing all the way over to Dome and actually tracking down Elevate, who drops Lava City, which is interesting. But hey, speaking of teams that like to play a little bit more cautious with that caustic comp, it's actually Zen. We had a chance to catch up with them before the tournament, the South American team. Let's listen.
We got a disadvantage. We stud them, they don't stud us. That's the thing, this is the advantage. The disadvantage is that we cannot risk too much because like if they risk and if they lose, they already know, right? We don't. So if we risk and we lose, we're gonna be like, we're gonna stay not known by everyone. So we got a shot, but we cannot risk that much and they can. That's the thing. We are aggressive, but the thing is that when it's needed, we try to do our best, holding spots as well, holding area, controlling area. We have a good area control when we have space to do it. We always make a lot of, how could I say? We use the space well.
Hearing that here, Zen now, they are getting shot at the same time. You can hear the confidence too as they're trying to make their next move. They put down the dome so that way they could replicate safely here, but they're getting pinged from their behinds, and we know that TSM, they usually land in Frag East. Wondering if they went in for a quick rotation like we've heard them do before, prioritize that beacon maybe so that way they could start making their moves right over to the western side of World's Edge. It's going to be super important here. Again, the last 3 games for today after a long journey for a lot of these teams performing.
Yep, Zen, actually saw them win game number 1 of series number 2. That was against Group C. They popped off, but since then, been relatively quiet. Right now, they are not in contention to qualify. They're outside of the top 20. They need a very big games 4, 5, and 6. They want a chance to see right here. They only have 8 points. It's a must-perform type of game for Zen, the team of 2 Brazilians and a Chilean in Wolf, and a team that, well, barely inched in. They got 5th place in South America and really did not have a ton of accomplishments or achievements outside of that. They're not like Team Singularity or other teams in South America that have been doing it and have been on top for a while. Zen has a lot to prove.
And then you heard it there too. And they're going to be running the double big boys here into the Valk.
Yep.
And that's going to be their goal here. With this composition, they want to secure one of these buildings, the end circle positioning that they really want to be able to have those barrels set up here already. 100 Thieves taking control over this real estate. We were highlighting where we've seen this circle pull before, very close to where 100 Thieves is. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's G2 holding onto the high ground, as we did see them redeploy onto that Pride Rock to be able to get that beacon information. We know that 100 Thieves is now playing off of the side here too, so they don't want to overcommit, because in case somebody tries to contest G2 here in this situation, they have easy access with the phase breach to try to go in for a third party.
Yep. 100 Thieves, recent, well, at least in Split 2, semi-recent decision to pick up Vaxlon, who rose to the top as part of Team Skirt, playing alongside I'm Madness, ended up getting signed by CLG in that crazy situation where CLG had Noko, had Nicewig, and had Madness all pick up different rosters and said, let the best man win, and ultimately picked up Madness's squad. CLG then won multiple championships in the LGS online tournaments, did really, really well in Summer Circuit back in 2020. Well, ever since then, obviously they've all dispersed to different teams. Vaxlon joined this squad, replacing Vayne after 100 Thieves won the ALGS championships in North America. Significant prize pool, gets signed by 100 Thieves, and he's been the difference maker. Team Singularity, team of 2, unfortunately, not able to play with their third. On board with them right now, who I believe did publicly tweet that he tested positive for COVID, unfortunately, so we'll keep a close eye on this Team Singularity squad. Team of 2, a valiant effort for sure.
I love this information here too, that Team Singularity is working off of the barrels. They know that tick damage is coming. They know there's another team right in front of them. They don't want to get pinched, but they could bait these teams to fight against each other, which is good news for Team Singularity if they can manage to reposition here. It's another team over by the sniper tower that we were highlighting by Thermal Station that's also trying to take some shots at them. They just can't catch a break here, Fallout.
Yeah, and as one last note on Singularity, Elysium, a controller player, and many in South America consider him to be a top 10 controller player in the world. Again, very unfortunate that we didn't get to see the #1 team in South America compete full force this weekend, but nonetheless, let's jump on board with Element 6, formerly 69 IQ, a team that doesn't get enough recognition for being a top 3 team, in my opinion, in EMEA. Right now, though, K20, their IGL is out, Elysium knocked as well.
And now Singularity are in trouble themselves. They thought they were able to take the low ground here, maybe force out a fight off to the side, but that team was not going to follow them through that portal. Instead, they took a bit of a wider approach. And there's another team over by the sniper tower that is pinging them. They're utilizing these crates for some natural line of sight for some of that cover. They have the Caustic Arrow set up as well as some makeshift cover too. Zen's all over by the other side though. We're taking a look at this fight before. So many other fights just happening on each side of the circle, and it really highlights the action between these choke points. The dome already forced out here from Zen.
That's right. E6 nearby. Skynade's going to come through from K20, the Frenchman. Nags and Slayers, the controller players from the United Kingdom. K20 joined this roster just about 4 or 5 months ago, made such an impact on this team. Right now, all 3 of them are up. They're playing Edge. They're known to like to play Edge. They like to stay sometimes in the zone and craft. Now we're going to switch on over to TSM, see where they're at. TSM, speaking of Edge, they're going to have to play a little bit of Edge here as well. They're going to gatekeep. Opportunity for TSM.
And we were talking about, where is TSM? We know that they land frag east. We saw the replicator being crafted here. TSM, they're on the low ground here because they're predicting that this is where the circle is going to be pulling closer. We've seen circles end up here before. This is exactly the same spot that we were talking about. And they're going to see a lot of these teams rotate away from those train tracks from the high ground. They're going to be funneled into the line of sight of TSM with little to no cover. And G2 have the high ground over TSM, and they're going to be able to overlook so many of these other different choke points. And they also have the beacon control, which with a lot of these squads, looking at APAC North, running the Crypto, running the Watson, they could get the beacon scan without having to overextend. But with G2 scouting over that beacon, they can't get that information.
That's right. Speaking of APAC North, the most important story right now we got to make sure to tell is the fight for top 20 to make it into the winners bracket tomorrow. Right now we have 5 APAC North teams of the 10 teams in the top 20. It's pretty darn impressive. 4-7, arguably the team that you wouldn't have expected to be the best APAC North team, in 4th place with 130 behind Optic Gaming, Team Liquid, and Alliance, dominating right now in 1st with 183 points. Alliance has been the most impressive team today, undoubtedly. A 19-kill game earlier, a 17-kill game in this series. They're playing on the B stream. You can check that out on twitch.tv/nicewig. My boy Wig holding it down here as we're going to jump on board to Space Station. A team that's on the fringe right now. They're in the 23rd, I believe. They got to perform here if they want to make it into the winners bracket. Space Station was a big underdog team that many, or dark horse, honestly, that many predicted to potentially win this event, and they have not performed yet. Dropped, lost his suitcase. That's a bad start to the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. That's tough. That's rough.
Bad omens.
Yeah, right. That's just starting
Bring a carry
off,
on. You know what I'm saying? I tweeted that out. Just bring a
there.
carry on. You know, simple as that.
It's although yes, it's just so many close in general now.
boy.
Element 6 though, getting rid of that black hole. They now have to pop up some of these shield bats, but they don't even have the time. He gets sticked with the Arc Star 2, but it doesn't even matter. He gets taken down first. Element 6 is some trouble.
It's G2, the fellow controller team. So controller on control action, and guess what? The Roller Boys from the States are going to end up on top. America over EU for now, but gentrifying is going to get tagged up, needs to survive. Result against the shield swap isn't enough. All types of nades, all types of damage raining from the sky, and guess who it is? It's SSG and Sutaraiku nearby.
And G2 is like, we can't catch a break here. The tether on top of it all. They're sandwiched in between both of these squads. They get rid of the crypto drone on top of it too. They have some of these boxes that they can push the shield swap like we saw before here. But what a tough situation for them to be in with little to no mobility. You can't really utilize this redeploy right in front of everybody's face. TSM though, they're getting out of their buildings.
Yep.
They've been changing up their playstyle, highlighting what TSM has been doing differently in this round, playing much more passively. We saw in round 1, they were much more keen on taking on those early fights, but now kind of slowing things down, trying to play patiently in the final circle where they predict that position is going to be.
Yeah, it was interesting, right? If you were watching earlier, I was kind of very commenting on it a lot. They're early rotating, but then they were playing very aggressive on edge in the round 3, round 4 kind of rings. What they've changed up this series is they're rotating early, and they're letting the game play out without forcing fights. They're not as aggro, and it's been working out for them. TSM, you can see even right now, they're not trying to take fights. They're just trying to survive, but they're going to have to rotate. We'll have to keep an eye on the TSM journey as they'll have to make their way through. On the flip side, 100 Thieves, they're big chilling right now in a very, very good spot. One of the best positions, and guess what? They own a lot of this real estate here. 100 Thieves basically playing Monopoly. They got all 3. They're starting to put some hotels up. They're chilling.
I love this prediction from 100 Thieves because we've also seen the circle pull close to the billboard where 100 Thieves is situated in one of these buildings. You could predict that there could be a team that could redeploy onto that high ground behind the billboards that could utilize that for some natural cover.
Yep.
But right here, 100 Thieves are trying to put themselves in a position where if a team has to drop from the high ground, looking at G2, looking at TSM that may have to traverse from the low to high ground actually by that geyser, they're going to be put into the line of sight of 100 Thieves now. Scars tries to take on this fight. They see the Watson fences. They don't want to overcommit here as RPR loses their shield.
Scars also playing with a substitute in IPN, former member of Alliance, so certainly not a slouch, but losing Mandy is a big loss, especially for these 3. They're a brotherhood. They have such good chemistry, arguably the best chemistry in all of EMEA. Let's go ahead and jump into a listen then with this new Scars roster, playing with IPN as a substitute.
Let me bet. I can't do them both. Okay. I got a barrel in. Nice. They're above. This guy's griefing us so hard from behind.
It's not worth.
Okay, they have ult inside.
Yeah.
We can't do anything against them. The other team is okay. I mean, we don't have other choice. What are we gonna do? We have to shit on them and get this.
You want me to bubble stairs and then go up?
We have no ult though, right?
No.
So we just have to fight them.
Looky here, got a bandit.
Tell me if they come. Yeah, I'm watching. Get my left too. Teshin, you play more behind. You play more behind. We run in. Save dome. They're outside. They're outside. I got a bat. Play on me. We're gonna fight him left here. In front. Fight him. Gassing all them. Rock. She's one HP.
And Scars gonna get taken out to the hands of Team Unite. You knew it was an APAC North team because it was Watson right in front of them, and that shows the difference in Scars, right? They got completely caught with their pants down by getting flanked wide left and just seemingly indecisive with Mandy. There's a big difference there.
What's even crazy is that they knew that there was a team that was circle keeping here. It's IG International, but they gotta get moving. They're taking so much damage from the circle already, but they wanted to take this fight. They wanted to find the opportunity to catch free Ignite. Now they're gonna be able to move in, but they're gonna be moving into the line of sight of where D2 is situated in, and that's the next choke point that they would have to get through the bombardment on top of it all. IG get taken out. It's G2 that are still holding on to this choke point, but it's only up to Gent to be able to clutch it out for the rest of the team.
Yeah, Designful, the IGL of this squad, still out, down to 1 with 12 squads left. And I gotta say, I predict the G2 to win in this series, and I'm hoping they perform in this game because Designful will absolutely kill me and say I curse them if they don't. So please, for the sake of Designful not roasting me, can G2 perform? No, I'm just kidding. We'll see what they can do. We'll keep a close eye on them. And one thing I want to point out, we saw Invictus Gaming. I just want to take a moment and say, in my opinion, just being a little critical here, Invictus Gaming, the biggest disappointment so far of this competition, right? They were a top 3 team in EMEA. so talented in Split 1 early on in 2022. Perform, make the decision to drop Blasts and pick up Urban, the unproven rookie, and it has not paid off so far. But we still got a lot of time to play. They're not going to make it, undoubtedly, into the winner's bracket, though. Let's go ahead and jump into a listen in, though, with another young team. It's CLG. Let's listen in.
You're on me.
I do have it. I need a medkit.
We got 20 seconds. Here. No, I don't. Just play over here. Play it back here on me. Just look up.
We're gonna have to queue in a horizon off this team.
Yes, I hear you. I have my
Try to stall for your bubble.
I have my
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge.
20 seconds on my
We land
on my
over
bubble.
there. We land over there on horizon queue. You gibby alt, and then we fuck them up from
Swing
our
back
angle.
to me. Swing back to me. What does this kid have? Does this kid have shit?
I looted it all. Do you need heavy?
Fine. No, I'm good.
Okay.
You have a scope or no?
Here, right here.
There's somebody right in front of me. It's a three man.
Okay.
Do not fight this. Do not fight this.
They get me alted.
I'm good at here, me.
Yeah. On Mamba.
Yeah, Balco. No, it's not.
No.
They just Balco. They just no. Fuck, bro. I'm going. I'm with you.
Guy above me.
We're safe here. We're safe here.
No, we're not.
Come up to me.
Yeah.
I'm riding.
I bubbled right here.
Team in there. Whole team in the van.
Play the outside on the right.
Heard that.
They might swing.
Shit on him.
I'm ulti.
Flash. The Watson's flash.
Oh,
I died to Storm. Play your life, guys.
I'm dead.
Play your life, Mamba.
I'm trying.
Sit on top of RV and just rap, bro.
And just like that, CLG so close to winning that fight against Game With from APAC North. It's going to be down to one member left. TSM lost reps. It's Hal and Verhulst as a team of 2.
And look where their positioning was. What we were just talking about, the billboards, the high ground that they were able to overlook, and they needed that because they lost out on reps. They lost out on the ability of the safety of the dome here. 100 Thieves now losing out on Vagabond to see if they can try to get this res here. It's going to be risky. The tether on top of it, maybe trying to at least trick them, but now they're going to have to be able to play off of such little coverage while there's still a team that's on the high ground right behind them.
And here we go. We have CLG Malice Mama still alive, rookie, who's burst onto the scene. I believe he's on Moners or Buff Pathfinder in Split 1 of North America. CLG, a team of young guns, looking to prove themselves this weekend. Sutaraiku, number 2 team from APAC South. They are still alive. A very big game for them. They have a chance to qualify with a really, really solid performance here. We'll see if they can do it. They're in 28th place right now with 70 points overall, so a win here would do wonders for them. As we jump back on board with yet another Watson team, the APAC North Special, the difference in meta showing here in this game.
Insane game with TSM. Sutaraiku, 100 Thieves now playing for their life, but Sutaraiku has such a good position. They have the high ground over all these players. TSM playing this as a duo here as they're trying to take the cover of the truck too. Sutaraiku see the opportunity, but they also see the black hole. They see the player, 100 Thieves, get taken out by Sutaraiku.
And take a look at, we're actually going to change point of views here, so I'll point that back out in a second, but Sutaraiku on God spot undoubtedly. The zone's pulling exactly to them. They're in a perfect position to close this game out. 3v3 against Game With. It's APAC South versus APAC North for a chance to stay alive, to make it to the winner's bracket tomorrow. Sutaraiku has high ground, looking down and raining down on their APAC North rivals here as they'll keep a close eye. Waltzy, Bullet, and Fussy against nothing but the Game With squad, who quite literally is between a rock and a hard place with the zone closing in.
The difference here is that positioning right now. You have dome being put in. Game With, they have the dome, but the EMP is going to be called in. It's going to delete their dome, but they're going to utilize theirs as maybe some free real estate. But the respect has been bought here. Multiclit's taken out, Sutaraiku dropped out, and you talk about the God spots here. Now this is the opportunity for them to take a game, but he goes down. How do you lose that?
You gotta be kidding me. It's a 1v1 for the red. You can get the shield swap, turns around. It's Watson versus Crypto, I believe. Waltzy on high ground, looking down, and it all comes down to this. The missile barrage is gonna come through, connects, and does damage. Also gonna get the stun, and he wants to push off that damage. He's gonna do exactly that, doing such a good job maintaining high ground, but the shield swaps are infinite. Yuka can just continue shield swapping, and he's gonna use that to his advantage.
He knows he's right there. It's not the Crypto, but it's the Valk right here. He has to drop down from the high ground, dropping down with the shield, but on top of that, Yuka's right here trying to play off of the fences. Let's see if they can do it here. The PK has to reload, playing off of the knockdown. You can't. Sutaraiku, they come out on top and take game number 4.
It means striker in Japanese, and boy did they strike. Waltzy with the 1v1, he clutches up and wins those for the bread. An extra 4 kill points picked up. Nothing but smiles from Bullet on the far left here, and nothing but anguish for this team. An opportunity to clutch up, an opportunity to earn quite a few more kill points, and they can't do it despite the shield swaps. Waltzy, perfect.
What a game
Perfect.
for Sutoraiku. Talk about positioning. You highlighted it perfectly there, Fallout. God spot positioning. Yet, when they dropped down, that's not exactly what we saw when they wanted to try to take that fight. The crypto drone, though, did provide some of that coverage.
That's
right
it.
there
That's
to
the final
where
match
they
for
were playing
today.
off of the side of the
ALGS.
mountain there. But wow,
Tomorrow will
what
be
an
another
intense
3
1v1.
matches.
You saw the sigh of the players there, too.
Wow.
It was just so stressful at the same time.
I'm going to be real with you, though. It shouldn't have gotten there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a 2v1.
Yeah.
In some way, somehow, that last member, it's Yuka of Game With, is able to clutch up. Almost clutches the 1v2, but Waltzy is able to shut it down. Nice job. A 23 Jordan-esque game for Sutoraiku. It's game 4 of the series. MJ and the Bulls won 6. Sutoraiku here wins game number 4. They got to keep doing it if they want to qualify. What a story it would be for the Apex South second tier of best teams. I mean, everyone says Reignite is a tier above. Well, Sutoraiku trying to prove otherwise here. That's a massive, monstrous game for them.
And TSM coming in third place with 3 kills, 100 Ds right behind them. CLG waking up a little bit too. I'm seeing a lot of these teams.
Space Station
that,
in 8th
yeah,
with
Space
6.
Station
They're
there
on
too.
the fringe.
A lot of these teams that were on the fridge right
Darkness.
there understand what's at
Cup.
stake.
Yeah, and Reject in 20th with 88 points. So keep in mind all of the fringe teams. Reject in 20th with 88. TSM in 21st with 84. We have Space Station in 25th.
Darkness.
Sutoraiku was in 28 with 70. Only 15 points separate them. And after that game, you got to think Sutoraiku makes it. G2, well, they are in 17th with 90. This lobby may as well determine who will be in the winner's bracket tomorrow, who will have 2 lives versus 1.
This is insane, Fallout. This is absolutely insane, and we only have 2 games left here on World's Edge, here for the day. What an intense first day it's been, and it's not slowing down. Yeah, we're reaching the end of the day, but look how close these teams are right now to try to break into that top 20 spot that they really want to obtain so that they can situate themselves right in the bracket.